We are about 30 seconds away here from the April non-farm payrolls print here. We've been teeing this up all week. I'll zoom in maybe a little bit here so it's easier to see. 238,000 up here in the corner. Expected to be the number. Remember, 300 plus thousand last time was actually revised to the downside. So here we go, under 10 seconds to go here. It's, again, expected to be 238, 3.8% unemployment rate. Expected 175,000 on the April non-farm payroll print, 3.9% on the April unemployment rate. That's also higher than expected. If I get rid of this again, 238 was the number expected there on the forecast, 3.8% on the unemployment rate. We go higher, 3.9%. Average hourly earnings to the downside as well. That's also going to help, 3.9% versus 4.1. Average weekly hours also downside. So across the board here, looking like pretty decent beat as far as, again, this April print is concerned. That's Expedia, not really reacting to this, but we'll jump over to a Nasdaq that's absolutely to the upside here in a pretty big way right now. We're up here for the Qs now, 1.4%. I mean, the Nasdaq already higher on the morning, still going here, 1.5% to the upside on this. Again, if you missed it or you're just joining a couple minutes late here, 175 versus 238 there. So a nice beat finally. I mean, it's not a beat, it's a beat for the market as far as the market's considered, because we were looking for that downside print. Unemployment rate comes in higher as well.
July cuts, Brenda?
Good one.
No, in all seriousness, this is going to refocus everybody on the Fed, and we're going to talk about weakness, or at least some slack in the job market. I'm keeping my eye here on the Fed rate tool. It really hasn't changed here for July. Still about 30% chance that we get about a quarter basis point cut, but yeah, nice move up here, and nice, yeah.
Yeah, no, listen, he has been pounding the table on wanting to see more data, pointing in the right direction. So here is more data pointing in the right direction. So we kid, but so there's a nice move to start, guys, for the market.
Well, the right direction, right? Like, it's obviously, you know, good news is bad, bad news is good, that kind of a thing. So that's why you're going to get this reaction. But that Fed funds tool, it doesn't change instantaneously. I would suspect with this print, you might see a little bit of a change. We'll check in on it later in the day. But, you know, 5 seconds after we get the number, I'm not anticipating that's going to move. But I think there might be some increased chances. Apple's already at 185. Amazon broke out. I wasn't going to do a stop breakout on Amazon through that 185.15, but if it comes back in, I do like Amazon. That was a double top from yesterday. So there's a lot of earnings to get to as well, but bad news is good in this particular case, because maybe some chances that we get more than what Frank expected. I still think you could probably see one, but maybe a little bit earlier, and definitely give some strength to the case, because if you're looking for data, this is some weakness in the job market.
Finally. I mean, let's go. We'll drop a little bit of cash down here early. We are long the triple Qs right now, 3x. We went long 70s there. I mean, we didn't get it obviously early. We got it when it popped back up. Came in, broke some levels there. Now we're going to go long, and we're staying long this market. This is going to be a huge day. You can see the Nasdaq absolutely through the roof. I think we should just hold this position here. Big time movement there. Finally a number that's cooler. I mean, about time. Like, this is why I'm trying to hold this thing. I was looking and thinking to myself, I was gonna wait until we broke this level of 17.9, but we're going to get to 18 today, I would think. We're starting to go. It's been a huge morning. The king is back in the building as well, which is absolutely great to see. I was talking with Danielle Shea yesterday, right before the number hit, and I was like, I'm long Apple. She was playing a short, but the idea is that these guys can do whatever they want whenever they want to, it seems like. China sales bad? Yeah, that was nice. But yeah, no, producing everywhere. The biggest buyback in history. I mean, Apple up 7% for a name with this kind of market cap. I mean, Apple, and we talked about wanting to buy I bought Apple on the dip. We talked about being long. I was long 169.75. Microsoft might be the next one. to pull another rabbit at some point. Uh-oh, something about Rivian? Not much happening, okay. All right, so let's go back over to the desk. It's a big, big morning so far here as the Nasdaq still trying to hold out some of these highs. We just took out twice, so we're out of 40% of this. Let's see how high we can go. What can I do for you, Ramin?
Yeah, what China problems for Apple? Non-existent. We'll get into that a little bit more. Shout out to our friend Tony Knack over at Financial Juice, just hearing in my ear here. 78% chance of a cut now in September. Remember, just 2 days ago, we were talking about November being the possibility for the first. So 78% chance. That's the Fed Fund futures indicating 78% chance for cut coming up in September now versus November. Here are yields off a cliff right now. 30-year on my right here, down better part of 10 basis points on this number. This is the 2-year. Same story, better part of 10 basis points straight to the downside. The dollar as well off a cliff as expected here. That's a daily chart, so 1, 2, 3 in a row here. We're all the way back to 104.5 here pretty quick for the dollar index. All of this going to help stocks.
Such an interesting week. We get news from Fed Chair Powell during his speech that they're not really looking at increasing rates. That had been speculated upon until the meeting on Wednesday. And then today we get a weak NFP number, which puts, rate cuts back on the table. So not only did we get no rate hikes, Bruno, but now the rate cuts conversation right back on the table. I want to show the 2-year and the 5-year if I can, Fabian, quickly, because we almost touched 5% here on the 2-year futures. We were awfully close, as well as 4 3/4 on the 10-year, but both down decidedly at the moment.
Yeah, again, shout out to our friends over at Financial Juice. Tony Knack just saying that Fed Fund futures now pricing in 2 cuts, guys, before the end of the year. So again, 78% for September now for the possibility of the first one.
And there it is. Now they've made the updates. So there you go. There's more than one. Look, obviously that's going to shift a little bit, but we got one number out, and we'll see where it goes. I didn't see that story on Rivian, but Rivian, I'll try. It's the same thing as in the afternoon yesterday. There was obviously, we were talking about this. It's better. You'd rather get money than dilute. So at the end of the day, if you can get some funding from the government or get some extra dollars from the government, then that's a little bit better than dilution. I don't know if it was just reiterating that story, but it's a bit of a double top breakout in play for Rivian. And we were in the 10 long and gave it 6 or 7 cents yesterday. I like this one again today, and I kind of felt that you're making a bit of a bottoming pattern on Rivian. So I didn't hear anything new with them. I think it's just a reiteration of what we saw in the afternoon. Well, not the aftermarket show, but the afternoon show. If we can take out that top on Rivian, still believe there's going to be some room to run. Amazon is through, as I said, that 185. That was the triple tops or double top break. I mean, technically triple top if you include the pre-market. I think any dip back into the 185, maybe even the 6, is going to be a good zone for this. And this is a post-earnings play. Apple on the earnings obviously is going to go. I only want the 185 or 182.5 on this stock, and then every, call it quarter. So 180, 182.5, and the 185 are going to be the plays for me. In terms of fade plays today, don't have a lot of them, but it's not zero. There's always something that I think is at least a reasonable fade opportunity, and that could be Carvana. It's just a matter of whether it can break out the top. If it doesn't break out this high, then I'm just looking in the other direction, which I was unwilling to do in yesterday's trade. I think that's part of the problem with you anticipate the break and squeeze. When it didn't happen, you just had to be willing to go into the only trade that was there, which was the fade on CVNA. And there's day 2, day 3 plays aplenty. I think this should be on the radar. And then some CGC at 10 we'll be talking about because that's SSR play off $10.
We talked about, another short. I mean, you could look at Coinbase here. It's battled back nicely because of this payrolls number, but it's funny because I was talking about it again on the recap show, and it was like, I said they're probably going to have a lot more sales, and that's exactly what they did. Their revenues 164 versus 134, so they absolutely crushed that side of it. GAAP EPS of 440. Increase in institutional trading. We sort of expected that. Nice net income. The company also noted increased activity on its layer 2 platform. Okay, so I mean, I was thinking about this name for a short, just because I was reading the numbers and they seemed pretty good, but the market thought it was, I guess, lower. I don't know if what the guidance exactly might have had anything to do with it, but now that we've got this bump up, I actually like the short a lot better because it was hit. Can it recover? Sure. Crypto's over 60,000, isn't it again? It wasn't at 60,300? Yeah, 60,200 right now. So it's trying to recover as well into a good number, but I'm thinking about all this right into here, 230, 232, something like that in here for Coinbase to look for a short. Again, was down double, 4 or 5%. Then this number comes out and we get bumped up. So if the story's not great on Coinbase, this would be a name that I'd like to short. But reading the numbers, I still think it's fine. I was just thinking about it, 230 to 232, and now this is getting closer and closer. So this is definitely something to look at here for Coinbase. But again, yeah, there goes Bitcoin. I mean, we were just talking about a 60,001, now it's 60,003. Yeah, maybe the short is wrong, but Coinbase is definitely going to be on my mind right now as the TQs. I did put an offer up at the day's high now, just because if we can get back up here into 30s, we should definitely take another piece out. And this market is a living, breathing, crazy animal these days. Who knows if we can even go back to the downside. This is great news, I think, for bullish case. We talked about the dollar moving there. We'll look at that again. And obviously, with finally a number that could support a rate cut at some point now down the line. So, all right, 56. So it is pulling back a little bit here. Market be moving. It's 841.
And I just remembered, this time pre-market, I remembered if I'm going to be even looking at CGC or anything that you need to have the locates for, hey, let's process that pre-market. It's ridiculously cheap, but you just don't want to have to do it in the moment. And it's not to say I'm not jumping into a CGC short. If anything, I'm looking for a failed breakdown at 10. The $10 level that I am sitting on is Rivian's, though, just to be clear. It's going to be a couple of stocks that are trading at exactly the same price, which is always fun. Rivian is at exactly the same price as CGC. Apple and, maybe not anymore. I was going to say Apple and Amazon at one point were exactly the same price. I'm like, that's not going to be fun because they both start with an A.
Oh, I hate, I was trading.
No, I'm the same as you because what happens is.
No, I think it was yesterday, Apple and AMD, I think we're at the exact same price.
Well, I know Amazon and Apple are so close, and they both begin with an A. It's easy. You can quick glance at your level 2, and you might be on the wrong one. I've made that mistake in the past. What I've literally done is made sure that I have like maximum separation in my layout from the level 2 I have for Apple and the level 2 I have for Amazon, so there's almost no chance I can make that mistake. But again, that's just it happens from time to time. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't make that mistake. I know I'm trading both. I know I'm trading some Rivian today. Randy, Rivian's back up above 10.
Yes.
Jinx.
Jinx, no jinx. I might put on Tesla here on the sticky note. I'll have to have a quick look. All right. Yeah. We did a little bit of a piece there. Let's go back over to the desk. Do we have a guest waiting? Oh, we do. I see who it is.
I believe.
All right,
so.
Back over to the big desk.
Yeah, we're going to get Michael Noss in here in a couple seconds to touch on some swing trading ideas. But yeah, a little bit of a delayed reaction there I was noticing for Bitcoin as well. Let's touch on this one real quick. Fubo, I know you love this company, up 11% here off a better than expected report. 22% short on Fubo shares. It's already north of, 3 million shares here traded.
Yeah, good look for them here, Brendo. You'll recall that there were issues last year, well, not last year, actually last February, when we heard a lot about Warner Brothers, Fox, and Disney wanting to create a bit of a conglomerate to take on Fubo and DAZN and these other sports streamers and to make their own. Now they're raising the ire of the Competition Bureau there in the States, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But with respect to how Fubo did, excellent. Brendo here, the guide is high, users have increased, and they got the nod from Wedbush and some other rating agencies.
Yeah, it's come off a long, long way. So those 22% of those shorts are going to be doing pretty well. But we'll see what happens today for Fubo on a better than expected report. As mentioned, Mr. Noss is here on a Friday morning to touch on a few swing ideas. I mean, this number this morning, Michael, kind of turns the tables a little bit. I mean, we're already up with Apple and pretty good news on the earnings front all week, really. But this number seems to have turned the sentiment a little bit here, but let's touch on some swing concepts. Give us your overall take here, first off, where the market is going into a positive print here this morning.
Yeah, and that's actually the first slide I have is the overall market, and I'm just kind of betting here on choppier for longer. And it's interesting you mentioned sentiment, Brendan, because it seems like every day, as someone who's on social media and on spaces and talking to people about trading, it seems like every up day, everyone says, "Great, we're so back, everything's amazing." On every down day, it's the end of the world. So that kind of sentiment flip flop that I'm seeing again just confirms to me that until these two lines that I have that break, either the top or the bottom one, I'm going to consider us kind of completely range bound. So what I've come to you guys today with is my favorite trade to make when the markets are range bound. Thankfully, I have some good trend trades already on. We talked about this a couple weeks ago with China, and then funny, Andy was on to cover me on Monday, also mentioning China, and we didn't talk about that at all. So it's good that two different traders were seeing that move in China happening there. So if we're going to remain choppy for longer, this is one of my favorite scans in Trade Ideas and one of my favorite setups. And we look at the next slide. This is DBC. So this is the commodities ETF. That purple line is the anchored VWAP. I'm going to, use this because this is a scan that we've built with Brian Shannon. I'm not going to pretend to be the anchored VWAP guy because that's certainly him. But we sat down when Brian wrote that book and we built these scans in that book into Trade Ideas. And I love these when the market is choppy because you're buying dips and you're selling rips. So for example, DBC, the commodity ETF, is coming back to this anchored VWAP. So that's something that's interesting to me. Now, on the next slide, I tried something different. Let's see how this works. But this is actually a GIF that should start going through. Perfect. So the scan that we have in Trade Ideas, and the reason that I just recorded this GIF quickly this morning, is just showing that when you click on the symbol in the scan, it draws this anchored VWAP for you. And all of these symbols are coming down to major anchor VWAP. So we're going to go through some of the ones I like the best, but that's what I'm looking for. So the next slide, for example, is Airbnb. We can spend a moment on that. We have earnings coming up, so we have to be a little bit careful about that. But the idea is basically, and what I love about this anchored VWAP is it does two things for me. It determines trend. You can see that purple line, and Airbnb has been above that major anchor VWAP at this significant swing low in the stock for a number of months. That determines trend for me right off the bat. If we're above an anchored VWAP for a period of time, we have to be in an uptrend. And then it gets me an area to take a shot for a pullback. You can see yesterday's candle, we pulled into that anchored VWAP and we put in a nice bottoming tail, a hammer candle there. So those are the two things that I'm looking for, is a nice solid uptrend, and then we pull back into that level. If you look left on that level, you can see it's around 155 on Airbnb. There's a lot of prior resistance there that could act as support. So again, a very simple setup that works well in choppy markets when I don't think buying breakouts is going to be as easy as it is when the market's just kind of breaking to new all-time highs. So Airbnb is a very interesting one, but be careful of the earnings in a few days. Next one here is DNOW. So DNOW had this massive move up from this big gap up that happened, and then you can see it just ran for a couple weeks. If you anchor a VWAP, again, this major swing low, we're trying to do it from obvious spots. We're not nitpicking. That's what the software is looking for, a very obvious place to put an anchored VWAP. We've pulled back there, and now for the last 3 days, we've been holding that level. It's around $14. So how I want to play this is I want to look intraday on a 15-minute or a 30-minute chart, and I want to see that it's holding that $14 level very well. And then I want to pick it up knowing that if we break and close below 14, then it's wrong and it's time to go. So these have very good risk reward opportunities. Next one here is MU. So we're back in the semiconductor space. I was staying away from that space for a while as things were just running with absolutely no end. But now we're pulling back. We're settling right at where the gap is on Micron, and then also that anchored VWAP there as well. So that's sitting around 110-ish a share. So if we hold that 110 level and we start to push up today, if this non-farm numbers pop sticks, then I like MU. Last but not least, we have HLX. This is an energy company. Major swing low again. You can see the explosive move off that level. That's what we're looking for to confirm that this is a very important level for the stock. came back down. You can see it's already bounced once off this anchored VWAP before earnings, but I'm not really interested in taking it right before earnings. So it came back down and held that level that's sitting around $11 a share. This is a slower mover one for people who like those kind of stocks. I like the look of this one because if you look kind of broadly and away from the anchored VWAP, it looks like a potential kind of cup and handle happening here. So if that occurs, that could see us above 12 and on. So I'm risking, maybe 50 cents a share to make $1 or so on HLX. So that's my idea. And the main concept I wanted to go with is that in markets that are choppy like this, you have to employ strategies that work in choppy markets. When the markets are trending, that's when we'll be back to just buying things that are breaking out, which to me is a little bit easier and a little bit more fun.
You mentioned that 15-minute idea for when there's a significant, support level, 14, whatever, round number, in line with that anchored VWAP. Outside of that, maybe give people a little bit of a plan here as far as entries, exits outside of that, buy a break of a high on a daily chart versus that swing low kind of concept.
Yeah, so we can go back to HLX for an example here, and I'll just kind of walk through how I do that. So that anchored VWAP to me is kind of the line in the sand. So if we get a significant close below that level, that's where I have to go, right? My idea is that we're going to bounce off that anchored VWAP, right? So you have to have an idea, and then you have to have a point in which that idea is invalidated. A close below that in any, more than a couple cents, it's time to go. Now for entry, you can see it's held above that yesterday, and it was gapping up a little bit this morning. So what I'm looking for on an intraday chart is your basic patterns that you'll see a lot of the guys trade. If we say come in a little bit in the morning and then we break that opening range to the high side, I like that. If I see a nice bull or bear or bull flag on the intraday chart, I will take that as well. I'm just trying to fine tune an entry a little bit as opposed to just putting out the order and just saying, hey, buy it when it reaches this level. At the very least, if we get another close above this level and I couldn't find a way in intraday, I will probably just buy that close and then set my stop below that level. Again, knowing that if we break that, it's time to go. So I'm sizing myself accordingly that if we reverse and we break down under that low, then I'm still okay.
For everyone who is interested in maybe getting their hands on that scan, guys, check out the link in the description. You can hit that and go get yourself 20% off for trade ideas. But the scan specifically, how can we get our hands on that?
Yeah, so that is part of a product, an add-on product that we built together with Brian Shannon. So you see the code on the screen. You can check that out. If you're having any problems finding the scan after you get the product, you can, my Twitter account's down below. You can hit me up on Twitter. You can email info@trade-ideas.com, and someone will share that link with you and get you going in the right direction.
Yeah, it's very, as you said, like a very basic, simple concept, but something that's repeatable in the same sense.
Yeah, you're just simply using this as a support level the way some people use moving averages. I just find this works way better, and we can credit Brian Shannon for popularizing this. And it just makes the plan simple. If we hold the pink line, I want to try to get involved somehow. And if we don't, it's time to go and find something else.
Mr. Noss, have a wonderful weekend. We'll speak again on Monday.
Talk to you Monday.
Oh, who's there?
He's around. He's checking out some Volkswagen.
Little Volkswagen action. Volkswagen actually, Randy, with a bit of a buyback, a beat, up a couple points today. Can't hurt that the market is, in a general sense, screaming to the upside right now. But we talked a little bit of Rivian. So obviously, look, this is going to be good if you're going to get a possibility of maybe instead of 1, 2 rate cuts for the EV names. So other than Rivian, because we already talked Rivian and Tesla, who else do you like?
A lot. I mean, Rivian, yes. Financing is everything. Like people are leasing and financing cars, and the rates are huge. So I mean, that's a big component of your purchase. So if you can get that in there and get it at a cheaper rate cuts, absolutely. Volkswagen's had an amazing quarter. I just found out late last night, and I'm like, wow, I watched it this morning. It was good stuff. So more to come. We'll see.
So there it is, Volkswagen, the other call from Randy. And we see, look, I mean, Rivian's back above the $10 level, so that's making a bit of a rebound as well. Thanks, Randy. And Volkswagen, I know a lot of times everyone's like, European stock, and people don't always look at it. Remember, they had that deal with XPeng. We were just looking at the XPeng chart. Oh my goodness, XPeng yesterday. Gap and go. All the Chinese names, in a sense, did this, but this was the strongest, I think, percentage-wise of the EVs. This was bigger than NEO was yesterday. And I actually, NEO was, this is still XPeng. NEO was a pretty solid trade off the $5 level. I'm missing some data. Off the $5 level. It doesn't seem to be holding very well, though, today. So NEO was one of those, okay, it was good off 5 yesterday, but unlike XPeng, it dipped, held on to 5, and got back to the high. But there's a big difference between gapping, holding the gap, and then running higher. Gapping, filling the gap, and then bouncing, which is what NIO did. And NEO's even down today. What a party pooper. But yeah, a bit of a difference there between XPeng and NEO the last couple of days, even if I still think NEO is looking strong off the $5 level.
Yeah, I really like that anchored VWAP talk there. We've had Brian Shannon on, obviously, on the recap show every week now for months. So join me every Tuesday, I believe it is, with Brian. And again, absolutely phenomenal. Go check it out. We have the we have the ability to do that here as well. Here's my trade ideas scanner, and we look for relative opportunities. For example, if you're on Tesla right now and you wanted to go over to, you could drop an anchor VWAP on any time frame, but I have it right here. And then what Michael was talking about was, of course, a scanner that will give you the anchored VWAPs. But like if you could drop it basically like from this gap down in, so there it is right there. Look, wow, look where we are on the anchored VWAP. Is we're at there right now from this gap low. So, trying to hold it, yeah, right at the 50 period as well. So this is a pretty cool tool that you can do. You can even put another one, drop down another anchor, possibly down at the earnings date down here. There it is. Well, for some reason it went to that day, but there goes another one down into here to 167 and change. So pretty cool to start to play around with these things. Again, be specific to your strategies, but yeah, we love anchor VWAP, and Tesla's a stock that's going to be on my watch today, but we'll get to that as we go through the rundown. But for now, we have upgrades and downgrades at the big screen with Adara.
Two of yesterday's big earnings winners kicking off the list here for upgrades. Apple with this upgrade from Maness, Crespi, and Hart, 205 price target. Amgen currently up over 13%, getting an upgrade from Barclays after its earnings yesterday. We also have Pacific Union getting an upgrade here by Stifel, and Williams-Sonoma getting an upgrade from XA and BNP Paribas. Downgrade, Starbucks kicking off this list, not its first downgrade this week following that earnings disappointment on Tuesday. This downgrade here from DZ Bank with a price target of $75. Expedia getting downgraded after earnings last night by Piper Sandler. Argus downgrading Paramount, moving it to a neutral rating amidst uncertainty with the merger offers from Apollo and Sony. And last but not least, Estee Lauder getting downgraded by Morgan Stanley, guys.
Oh, yeah, you saw Starbucks. Starbucks, well, why is this still Alibaba? There we go. Starbucks trying to settle itself down. The good news for Starbucks is it's put in a higher low after bouncing mildly yesterday. Okay, fine. It bounced a couple of bucks. It's actually not that small of a bounce, but in the context of the gap, it's not very good. You talk about the China concerns. You talk about some of the strain on the consumer. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to throw in a potentially weakening job market. That's probably not helping them out. All of that said, it is following the pattern you generally want to see post-earnings dump, which is find a bottom, bounce off of it, and then hold a higher low. So as much as I don't think that the weakness in the job market is helping anything with them, the 74, like this higher low they put in at 74, if it holds that today, I'd be looking for a relief rally probably on Monday, if not just a bounce off 74 and then breaking out the highs. That could be an afternoon play as well. So far so good. Putting in a bottom after a big, massive gap down is the first thing you'd like to see. And the second thing you want to see is either hold that same bottom or even better yet, hold a higher low. That remains to be seen for Starbucks, but that's what I'm looking for next before I actually put a trade on in SBucks. It should be, it'll be SSR today. So it's not to say that I'm favoring looking for dip buys, but it does give you that setup. So if it does fail like a break of 74, you have an SSR bounce in play, which lends me to look for those kinds of things when you have a stock as depressed as it was at post earnings.
Yeah, we made money yesterday shorting Starbucks, and we'll look to do some more of that today. But Palantir was a level here. It's on our watch list, so I assume I don't know if it's going to be on the rundown or not, but again, price target increase today for Palantir up 4%. So a name that's entering the building here on the sticky note. Let's look out for some Palantir action. Nicely done now off of some great bottoms, smiley faced up, now taking the 50 period. I really like Palantir. Let's go back over to the desk.
51.91, that's where we closed out yesterday on the ES June contract, but we're well above that now with the Apple earnings and with the NFPs coming in lighter than expected. Look, we have resistance here, as you can see on the 4-hour at 51.50. We're 3 points below that now. If we can clear and hold above 51.50, we have a good shot of touching 52. If we tank for whatever reason, look for 5100 as support.
Apple coming back here a little bit as we speak. Let's get into it. If you haven't done so yet, go to the website, tradertv.live, wait for that pop-up, and then enter your email address. You get that absolutely free every single morning. All your homework done for you. Yeah, a bit of a pullback here for the market as well. But here's Apple, still hefty, 7%. I mean, 110 billion worth of a buyback. There's the list of positives here just goes on and on and on and on and on. And yeah, what China problems?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Brendo. So I'm going to highlight two things here. China was definitely not as bad as some of the suppliers made it seem. Look, so the street was looking for about $15.25 billion to come out of China. They well outperformed that. $16.33 billion is what they actually printed in revenue. So that's point number one. Point number two here, service revenue is almost $24 billion. Compare that now to iPhone revenue, which is around 46. It's their second biggest line item, but it's growing at the same rate, says the COO, Luca Mastri. 14.9% year over year on the quarter growth. So look for that to possibly outtake iPhone sales in like 4 or 5 years. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and remember, we get AI updates coming up next week, and we get iPad updates coming up next week as well. So maybe just the beginning here.
Yeah, I mean, we're expecting something, we're expecting two things from them, according to, at least from the horse's mouth, right? Like next week, when you have the iPad event, we're expecting something from the AI there. And then, look, when we have the conference, I think people are a little bit more excited for June, but you never know. What's cool about Apple and what was sort of tricky about some of the other Mag 7, and I'm going to throw Amazon into that bucket, is for anybody that was looking at pullbacks in the market and dip buying opportunities in quality stocks. I mean, Apple came right into October low support, and it like twice, effectively wicked it down twice, but it even sat down here multiple times. So, you know, it gave you a level, it gave an opportunity for people to get back into it while it was trending down. The tricky thing is when you want to buy dips on quality stocks that don't give you the dip. You know I missed a couple, but thankfully Apple is now going to do that run. It's above the 200 period moving average again. That will be, I don't want to even call it the Alamo today because at 181, it's like, what are the chances that we get there? It's not that it's impossible that we see 181, but that was before the number. Had we gone down after non-farm payroll, I think I would have been more interested in the 181 level. At this point, I like 182.5. Still, that can be in play. I just want to be buying dips on it. But once you've already broken the top, you have to have some flex and not just get married to the levels from when you sat down on the gap to the upside. So yeah, 182.5, it's around the pre-market low, but it also broke things out at 184. So I like breakout prices for pullbacks as well. So we're going to be looking to buy dips. I'm not thinking short on Apple today. I'm not even going to bother throwing out it. Sometimes I'll throw out a number. Like if it was Coinbase, I'd throw out a number. Hey, if it gets this high, I like the short up there. I don't really have that feel for an Apple today. So I'll really just be looking to buy some dips.
All right, we're still holding long on the Nasdaq right now as it's coming back up into today's highs. So we'll have to watch out for that. We're still sitting at that high to try to get out. I still think we can blast it, and I think it will be in big part due to Apple. Apple is the #1 name, of course, as you guys are probably guessing, today on the sticky note. There's 61,000, by the way, for BTC. We just put this out a minute ago. Apple, I just said VWAP or 180 long. Obviously, that 180 would be a dream spot to get long, but you're pulling back into VWAP a little bit right now. So I wasn't sure where it would be by the time we opened up because, again, you know, when you're coming in here and we're writing these levels down before non-farm, it looked like we were getting much closer to those levels. So we'll see if we can fade back in. I would still love to get this long back at 180, but let's just see what happens at VWAP. It'll probably be another early trade for me if we do come down in and sort of hover around and then start to go back to the upside. So for me, I like everything about Apple. We love that service number. It is a name. And look, I tell you these things before I do them or as I do them. I was saying last night, we said it on the show, we said it on the recap show, we said it on this show. I bought Apple. We bought Apple at 169 and change. Now it's up to 185. It's really done well to get up here. Still has work to do to get back to highs, but like it's now, you know, in the pocket of all the other Mag 7 names, right? Like Google's pulled back off highs, Meta's pulled back off highs, Microsoft's off highs, you know, obviously NVIDIA's off highs. So now Apple's right back there, kind of where it belongs, and you have the big, huge buyback, and you have AI coming. I think this is a win for a very, very long time. I may not get out of this until we get into 190s. I think Apple has a big move coming, and no reason to be scared now. Let's see what happens in the market.
All right, Coinbase to the upside right now actually just took out the high from after the close yesterday, or that wick high going into the earnings after the close yesterday. Lots of positive notes here. The one that stood out for me was down here. Institutional trading volume, all-time highs.
You took the words out of my mouth, man.
Yeah.
Because I think it has a lot to do with the ETFs and the fact that they're able to kind of cover themselves right now by investing in these ETFs. Fantastic look from institutions. Also, consumer trading volume increased as well. $56 billion they brought in from consumer trading. Last year, they brought in 50.63, so a cool $6 billion more revenue. Everything was good here, Brendo. I feel like it was just priced to perfection, and that's why we sold off. I didn't really see any weakness in the report.
Yeah, I mean, relative strength right now, market just kind of hanging out, but Coinbase, guys, trying to push back towards the highs. If you haven't done so as well, if anyone's joining us for the first time, first off, welcome. We do this every single day that the market is open. Make sure you hit subscribe. We're getting really, really close to a monstrous number. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ramin, but I think it's about 200 or so, about 200 to go to 450,000 subscribers. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure you hit the subscribe.
That's what it's all about. Thank you, everybody, for getting us there. We know we're going to get there today. I feel it.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting there today, when I sat down, I've had a 240 level marked off on Coinbase for a short for the last week and a half. And when I sat down, I'm like, I'm not even throwing this on my note. It's a complete waste of time. What's the point? Coinbase, it was trading down at 215 and it was down $15 or something. We're not going to get there. Well, lo and behold, you get an economic number, NFP, and it pushes everything higher. You see Bitcoin absolutely racing. So the 240 is going to be in play today on Coinbase. That's about it. I didn't really, it's not as if there was anything really that bad in the report. It was, I suppose, a story of where it had come from. You know, like it had gone on that big run and it was just inside the range. And I feel like it had been so strong into earnings after turning into a downtrend, like it broke trend to the downside, and then it was so strong for 2 days that maybe you had some profit taking, but whatever the reason is, I mean, 240 is right up there for that lower high. That's the only trade I think you'll see me in. If it fails lower than that, and there's some kind of a trend down VWAP trade available, or if 60,000 breaks on Bitcoin, I'm open to other things, but the only plan is that 40 level. It's $10 away, but Coinbase on earnings, it's not impossible. It could get there.
Yeah, I don't think it's very wise now to short Coinbase. I was looking at it. We talked about that earlier. It did not make the sticky note at all. And yeah, again, they were down 4 or 5% when we came in. Rivian's still going higher right now. I'm hearing in my ear. Okay. What was that about the CEO of Rivian?
I've never
Did
it's not
Rivian get
clear
rid
up
of
here.
their CEO? Oh, COO.
It's a
Okay, so
COO.
here it is right here. It's Rivian hires Javier Varela as COO. So Rivian now $10.20 or so. But okay, so this is just a quick little chart here on Bitcoin. Look, I don't know what's up with that, but it was a nice, this is just a 2-hour chart. It was a nice bottom, I guess, down there at 56,000, but you're starting to go up. Like, I don't, why we stopped there is a little bit of a pause for me. I didn't get longer or anything there. We had talked about this 52,000 as being an area, but we didn't get there. So now you're starting to go back up to the upside. So we can zoom back in now and just have a quick look. I still think we can get to 54, 55, especially if the Nasdaq fades. But these two things, the Nasdaq, these two asset classes, I guess, the stock market and Bitcoin, tend to be tied here with the Nasdaq, I feel like. As Nasdaq's starting to go back up to the upside, we've had a good couple days now where maybe we're not as fearful anymore of disaster in the economy if we hike rates. Bitcoin seems to be reacting a little bit to some of that. Nice move down. I mean, remember some of the market uncertainty. It's kind of like what we've been seeing in the Nasdaq, up and down, finally broke, and now trying to get back up over 18,000 again on the Nasdaq. So we'll see if we can hold. I feel like 60, 61, 62 is like equivalent to this 18 grand here on the Nasdaq. So for me, I'm going to stay away from shorting Coinbase. If anything, it's just a long now because it's shown that it will react with the stock market and with crypto. So I like this long now back into 224 and change, but let's keep our eye on Bitcoin. I haven't done that much work on Coinbase here.
Back to highs right now. Block having a nice start to the day as well. SQ trying to test that aftermarket high up here currently. I was just reading some of these details as well this morning. I mean, 5.957 billion in quarterly sales seems high for them.
Well, it's a good look, not a bad look at all. The street was looking for 5.83. They beat that handily. Last year, this time, they printed 4.99, so a good year-over-year increase, and that's a 19% beat, by the way, increase from last year's revenue. The guidance also looks good here. They're guiding 2.16 to 2.18 for the next quarter. That's above the street's expectations. And then, like Coinbase, transaction revenue grew about 6%, Brenda.
Yeah, and they also said they're going to put 10% of their gross profit into Bitcoin products. Dollar cost averaging into that are continuing too, which also could help this move. 10% guys here for SQ this morning.
Yeah, looking really good, and less than 150 away, 127 away. Oh, wow, we're going to get there before we end this morning show for sure. Thank you, everybody, for that. Just one quick update. I have taken some out of Rivian into yesterday's high, so that 10 level, it bounced off of. I got 3s and 4s, so I'm out of the 3s, and only the 4s are left, as you can tell by the position board. Took some out 9s, 11s, and then just got some out at 16. Looks like we are, I mean, this is great for them. Any chances of like rate cuts are obviously good for companies that are in the EV space. I have 1070 as the big resistance and the 50 periods laying there. Square, I like the long, but the problem with Square pre-market, its volume is pretty bad relative to what we're seeing, but based on market move and post earnings. It's only 300,000 shares worth of volume. It's broken this channel, 76.5. That's the level I like, and I have marked off. So as long as it holds 76.5 at the open, I want to be long Square off of that level. But I'm a little surprised at the liquidity. It's like a 20-cent spread with not a heck of a lot of volume. So this is a post-open 100% trade. Like, I would not trade this. If it could dip back down to that price, and I'm not taking a fill at 920 or 925. I want to see it open up and liquidity come back into block. But 76.5, that's the previous high or previous resistance level. Dips into that 76.5, maybe 76 area you give it to. And if it breaks that, I'm not fighting it. At that point, you've kind of failed the breakout.
Yeah, I mean, beating 85 cents versus 72, beating on sales 5.9 versus 5.8. Good. Continued investment in Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin going up right now as well. Planning on to allocate 10% of its gross profit from Bitcoin products into Bitcoin purchases. So, I don't know. I guess we're talking a lot about Bitcoin right now with Square, which is a little puzzling, but there goes Bitcoin again. Here goes Square again. So the only thing for me is Square's implied move was 12%. So it's not at the level of its implied move. So for me, I feel like we'll slow down a little bit here with purchasing Square up at these levels. It's kind of come out as expected, bouncing around a little bit. For me, this is a stay away for this name, but I could see a fade in and around 80 bucks. So if we can get up to there, depending on what this market wants to do, I do like a fade for Square. Shout out to my boy Mike, because like honestly, Mike, thank you so much, Mike Crean. He actually sent me the Air Force Dunks maybe 3 years ago, something like that. 35 months for a member. I mean, that's your 3 years right there. I mean, 35 months, day one, there it is. Thank you so much, Mike. I mean, that means a lot, man. To continuously support our channel for 35 months, 3 years, that's pretty incredible. I say thank you so much, Mike, and to all of our, there we go, the Ram, to all of our viewers out there. Best of luck and best success to everybody out there, and especially you, Mr. Crehan.
All right, let's go to DraftKings here. And a nice look to start things off as well on the earnings side of things. Pretty good Friday morning here. DraftKings just took out aftermarket highs here. Not as much tension or volume behind this, but stronger than expected Q4 for them as well.
Yeah, Brendo, not a bad look here. 4.8 billion to 5 billion is what they're guiding for the full year guide this year. That's above consensus of 4.819, and that's about, if it ends up manifesting, a 31 to 36% year-over-year growth on your revenue. They're also looking at opening up in newer jurisdictions. I believe Kentucky and Tennessee, some places in the South there are going to be some of the newer jurisdictions they enter.
Yeah, one of those days when everything's pointing in the right direction, but a lot to choose from here, guys, on the long side.
Yeah, I think that's like, well, you get a move like this in the market, yes, a lot to choose from. On the long side, you really do have to pick your poison. Like I knew Square was going to be on there 100%. Then you get Apple, you have Amazon with that double top as well. You're going to throw in, I knew Rivian and maybe some CGC, you had day two on CVNA. It looks great off of the 44 level on DraftKings, and the 50-period moving average as well, like 43.5. You've got higher lows into it. There is this concern at 45, 75, 46. So it's like if you chase it too far, it's really close to some overhead resistance. So like, it's not the top of my list. I think the 44 breakout, that's just something you would have had to have. Like you're not getting 44 unless you put a stop order for 830. On the number, which I'd never do on DraftKings. So unless it gets back in there, it's literally halfway to resistance and halfway from support, which to me is diddling in the middle of the range and not a great opportunity. I like the trajectory of the stock. There's no question about it. I just don't see the day trade unless we're tighter to the 44 level. That would make a little more sense to me.
I didn't even look at DraftKings. We've traded it when it gets up to key levels, but again, an expected move of 10%. So 5%. I mean, I almost think that this could have been up 5% just off NFP alone, regardless of what their numbers were. But no, I mean, I like the name. I don't think, our job isn't here to like discuss the quarter and give you like an opinion on, where I think this is going in the next 6 months or anything like that. I mean, I like DraftKings. I think it's a good stock. That quarter looked good enough to me. Now, whether or not it sells off today, I don't know. But it had like a wicked breakout level just going back to the beginning of April at 46 bucks. So I'm not that excited about this move today. So I think it's a fade here at 46. So worth a shot, possibly going short there, $46. And I'm actually going to write that down on my own. Well, the sticky note's already out, but I'm going to add DraftKings to this as a possible fade in and around $46 for DKNG.
I saw this note. It's kind of interesting. This is going back to Tuesday, but worth a note, I think. So ARK picking up some BYD and also continuing to buy Palantir, and they also acquired some AMD shares. So she's been selling whatever she had left of NVIDIA And moving over to AMD, kind of interesting. But yeah, let's talk about Palantir. She continues to buy up this one as well. It's Jefferies this morning with a positive note, increasing their price target 4% already here this morning.
Yeah, breaking out into those mid-April highs that we had, looking to knock on the door of 25, about 23 and a half now. Yeah, I didn't see anything specifically on it here, Brendo. I don't know if there's a catalyst that led to the buying over here, but Jefferies, yeah, as you said, giving them a nod.
Yeah, again, this goes back to Tuesday, but 45,453 shares. Around 21.97, so better part of $1 million extra going into the pocket of Miss Wood and Palantir, guys.
So
maybe it's, I don't know, one little thing irked me there. It's like, why not just buy one more? 45, 45, 3.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
make it 45, 45, 4 and leave it at that. Like, come on, Cathie. The 50
I talked to
period
you
looks
about this already.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like Palantir. I mean, it's on the sticky note here today. I think a pullback into yesterday's close is absolutely fantastic if we get that move back in. Like I said, it's only up 4%, but again, no earnings. Earnings come May 6th, so next week. This is going to be one of your last times to buy Palantir. You know, if the market continues to run and they like this name, it's going to go higher. That's why the upgrade's coming right now. They're going to have a good quarter. I think it's 5 straight now. They're going to get added to the S&P 500 at some point. I think Palantir works. We talked about buying dips. We've liked Palantir. This is a very, very long-term hold for me. We've been buying this from the direct listed down there at $9. We bought more at $7. We bought more in here. We're long Palantir. We love the name, and I think it works. Earnings May 6th. If you're excited about earnings plays, I think you can get long this one maybe right now. Huge bump up, huge bump up. I mean, I think it's just a matter of time before you get that S&P bump as well. So I like Palantir, obviously working out, but they could miss on earnings and guide lower, I guess. I have no idea, and they're coming May 6th, so that's why I'm dropping that. So May 4th, 5th, 6th, so Monday night.
Monday aftermarket.
I mean, I guess it is
aftermarket.
Is it aftermarket? Okay, so
aftermarket.
it's the 6th aftermarket, so you'll have Monday trade as well. But if the market's up today, I don't know. We'll see where Palantir is for that report, but might be a little risky to start a position a day before their earnings report. I like it for a day trade long.
I mean, it's got that $20 level that it just put in as well. So, I mean, in terms of, like, if you think about that, like, that's from 23 to that 20. I mean, that's a good 15%. I would say that that's a decent amount of support because it would have to break that. So, like, you're not getting, the chances of you getting gapped through that level, I think, are low now that it's made this run. As far as day trading it, the 50 period's literally right here within 10 cents, and 23 even is previous resistance. I think Palantir is a stock that's great around even dollars. I mean, typically it's been pretty good around even dollars. Great's maybe an overstatement, but previous high, diff back in. It's similar to DraftKings, only DraftKings further away and too close to resistance. Like DraftKings was $1 from resistance and $1 from the breakout. You know, Palantir is 40 cents from the breakout price at 23, and the resistance is all the way up at like 25, 25 and a half. That's like $1.50, $2 away. So from a risk to reward standpoint, I just like dip longs in Palantir a little bit better than I would in DraftKings. You know, obviously, both charts look very similar on a daily, but one of them I think has a little bit more room to run and a better risk-to-reward profile today. Just a couple of things. We didn't really go over this one, so now we're done all of the names in the rundown. But Amazon, the last couple of days, and if we think about that Fed high, the 185, it was 185.15. That is the big level. Once and then 3 times yesterday it actually tagged 185.15. It's broken it out. There's a lot of setups that look like this where you get flat top breakouts into higher lows. Yeah, I want to be long in front of the 185 on Amazon. It's a situation where, like, if you have a stop order on the number, you're obviously winning. And the reason I don't do that is because in the pre-market, we've seen this before on economic numbers, where you could just have something which triggers stops in one direction or the other, but then the real move is in the other way, and then you essentially just get rinsed. I'm not a huge fan. It's one thing to find a trade after, like Sean got into the TQQs after the numbers come out. I got into Rivian after it dipped back into a price I liked on the breakout, as opposed to just gambling that your stop order ends up in the right direction, which it looks great when it works, but when it doesn't, you might find yourself not too happy with the outcome. So anyways, that's the reason I didn't take the break. I know I put that breakout on my note this morning, and I know I said I would take it last night, but I didn't want it at 8:30. We'll take the dip in 85.
All right, we're really early.
We sprinted
here
through
right now.
this.
We sprinted through this. Man, my hands are like so
Every day.
freezing again here today. Like I know we're both wearing golf shirts here, but like wow, yes, immediately. Blanket.
Do you have
says
a
Ramin.
blanket?
Yeah, if she has a blanket, I'll take a blanket. All right, back over to Sharif.
All right, guys, last day of the Gap and Go lessons today. We're going to be talking about mixing the Gap and Go strategy with technical indicators, the multi-signal approach it's called. Catch that with Adair and I today at 11 on how to trade.
I feel like if
We're discussing blanket.
what would happen if we actually used a blanket on this show? We just give.
Maybe we would be comfortable.
No, well, it's the only problem with that is to get comfortable. I couldn't have my hands on the keyboard. Like I want to be nestled. I'm on my couch at home. Yo,
wow,
I'm
yeah.
I'm all comfy.
I mean,
arms ain't.
Blanket. Are you actually bringing? No, I don't want that.
No. Don't actually bring it. It's actually because we have to have our hands out and all that kind of good stuff. But cold hands, warm trades. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Cold hands, warm heart as well. So I've been told. I don't know this. I don't know the scientific veracity of that.
Here comes
but
Apple. Here comes Apple.
I'm okay with that.
Comes
Oh,
Apple,
Apple's
here
pulling
comes
back in.
Apple. Apple down to 184 immediately, bought right back up there as Apple taking a dump right now. Lots of volume coming in on AAPL right now. So we have a volume scanner down here, but you can't see anything because we have that. There we go. That looks better. All right, so there you go. Nice volume spike there. Oh, duh. The imbalances came out. Hello. We've only been doing this for 25 years. There's Apple's sell imbalance. I'm like, what just came out on Apple?
There you go.
Oh, man. All right, so it is an Apple sell imbalance. So that's to me is, that's negligent by me because we should have bought that. I don't care about that sell imbalance. 400,000? I mean, 8% of today's volume. That's not for me. That would have been nothing there. But again, 183.50. I mean, like if you stand there at 184, I don't know if you get stopped out down there or not. So probably better to stay out of that. But there was the dip down in there. If you're going to use anything, Palantir's a buy. What a surprise. Come on, Cathie. Like, let's go. Paramount. I'm not really seeing anything else. We nailed Alibaba yesterday down there at 77. Wow, that was a jump. But anyways, as we go, man, Apple, if anything, we still have 3 minutes to go. Like this coffee's, I only have like, I don't know, less than half, 40% left of the coffee. I'm gonna ask Randy for another one because it's freezing already. All right, so Apple right there. If anything, it just gave us that look. So it just gave us 183.50, so thank you for that. Like honestly, we're not long, but at least we know now that that's at least someone came in there and bought it up. So that's good, like, because it could have just kept going. So it went right into sort of that pre-market level of 183.50. So I say thank you to Apple and that pre-market imbalance for giving us a little bit more information.
Yeah, I love it.
You know, that just gave us at least a level there.
Information is key because when you're hunting for dip buys in a stock that does this, like you really just want areas for confluence, whatever you want to call it. So whether it's VWAP, whether it's pre-market lows, I had 182.50 marked off, but we're so far away from it. I don't know how good that's going to be. With still 2.5 minutes to go here, AMD, Yoel mentioning breaking out highs, 151 AMD. Is a biggie. Obviously 150 on a Friday, round number, all that good stuff. 151 was the post-earnings, like second day top that it rejected. So I think that's the key price that it has to get through. I mean, all these breakout prices look so good in hindsight, like down at 146, but you don't have it, like there's no distinct level for me unless you get down to the 146 on AMD for any kind of a buy. Gonna have eyes on CVNA as well. It's simple for me. If CVNA fails the top,
look at Apple.
I'm going to look for opportunities to short Apple. That was so quickly back to the top.
Look at Apple. Apple is absolutely mooning now. Like, what a trade.
Gone.
Apple up 8% on that dump. Like, somebody just got, and like, I was thankful for seeing that, but like, now I don't know if it comes back. We said playbacks into VWAP here today, so that's almost perfect right now. Like, that's not only you know, a spot that we sort of dumped off at, but then we came back, held it for a minute, and then took off. This is probably a decent opportunity right off the open for the Nasdaq or for Apple. I'm in the Nasdaq right now. We're sitting right here at highs. I'm sitting at 30. So I'm actually, am I at 30 or am I at 25? I'm at 30. So we should get this right off the open. We're still long here off NFP. We said we wanted to be long. Normally I'm getting in and out here, but no, we'll want to stay long and see how far this thing can go. We're in the money. This is a good trade already here to start the day with only a minute left. We're going to get ready to rock and roll. It's Apple. I've got Tesla on my mind as well. Possible drop back into VWAP, waiting for 178 off the sticky note. This should be a good day. There it is, man. It's a big trade for the TQs, man. That is 65 cents right off the jump there to start the day on the futures. We're already well in the money now. Man, this feels like a good day here with only 30 seconds to go. Good job here, guys.
Yeah, let's get this party started because it's already looking like a good one. The available dip suddenly looks like an 85 or an 85.5 as opposed to 83.5 on Apple. That's how quickly the market's going to come at you. I'm going to play it the $10 level by ear on Rivian. It looks like it's still 10 cents in the money, but I want to play up that $10 level and then watch out for Amazon pullbacks. But in 2 and 1, Adara, let's go.
Yeah, Amazon pullback.
I feel like there's so many things to look at. I don't want to miss out on some stocks that we know we like that Amazon move could be just as good. Oh, NVIDIA just dipped at the open. Why?
Because so we obviously got that TQs. We talked about that. I'm just going to hold it now. Honestly, if it fades all the way back in and we somehow lose on this, then that's where we'll punch out so we can definitely have a profit in there. I was just about to say, just before you said NVIDIA pulled back, because obviously AMD is pulling back as well, I was like, oh my, AMD's at 150. That's what I was going to talk about, and it just dropped off there pretty significantly there on AMD. Let's just check out if Apple's giving us any love. Not yet. Hanging around 186. I am going to put out an offer here on the TQs just to make sure we don't let a winning trade turn into a losing trade. Our spot right here, 55.90, we're going to get out of a piece if it does come back into that level.
Oh, and we're going to ring the register, but I did not get the dip buy on Rivian. Rivian dipped into 10.10, just check that 10.11, and then did pretty much like this at the open. It just went right to 10.30, so it just didn't give you the chance off that $10 even level, and it's absolutely flying. What is going on with NVIDIA? I kind of felt we'd see a little bit more strength there, and Apple's right into 185 already. So
yeah, it's pulling back a bit here, man.
Yeah, so it's pulling back into 185. This is the spot where I tried. Oh, give me a break. I just missed. What am I sitting at?
AAPL. What is VWAP at?
Just missed that at 185.
85.05.
I was sitting there at 12. That was not close enough. Oh, that's going to be frustrating. If that was the only dip into 185, I just missed it. Amazon's chilling at 186, but it's pulling back as well. I still like a 185 on Amazon as well for a little bit of a dip buy in there. But the chips, at least NVIDIA's weak. I haven't checked out the other ones. I know you said AMD was going down. A little surprising. But
yeah, that was just off you. Like you had mentioned NVIDIA
Okay.
there, so.
Okay, give me a little something, Apple. Give me.
All right, we got long Apple there. We're long at 30s on Apple. I don't know if it's going to be good enough or not, but we'll put an offer like upside into the 70s right there. And there it is. It's your first winning trade on Apple right there. So there it is, man. We're 50 cents now in the money, looking to get even higher than that. Can we take this out in the 90s right now? It's Apple. It is as it was written, finally. On the sticky note, we said buy VWAP, and it goes right into VWAP, and we buy VWAP. So finally, we listened to ourselves, and now we are well in the money, looking to make a Dollar Club winner out of the sticky note trade with Apple. And I know Neil was on that as well. So
Baba
so far,
also
so
bounced
good.
off 80. That came.
Ooh, Baba.
I know we forgot to mention something. Apologies. I did tweet about this, but I did not say a word. And I know there's so much to cover. Alibaba, you know what it did yesterday? $80 right here was support. It just bounced off once. I was able to get 40s out, but I put 22s because I always do. I'm going to be on the bid again here in front of the 80 level for Alibaba. Rivian's starting to pull back as well. So we're going to get over to this as, yeah, it's still holding the 10-10. VWAP's up here as well at that 10-10 level. I just want to be net long on this trend as long as it's above $10. Wow. Palantir, did that come in? Palantir's starting to drop into 23 as well. It's like, how many things do you want to dip by if we're coming to the downside? And I don't know. I said Coinbase if 240. would be the only kind of remote short level that I had in plan. It's nowhere near it's like $10 away from that. I'm always going to check if chips are weak. I'm going to check to see if there's available 31 on Intel. And look what Intel did. It wicked 31 because it always does, and then rejected it. This is a short until it's not. So I'm going to try the 31 short. This is what the top was on Fed day. Adara?
AXTI trying to break out here with some nice volume off the open, posting an earnings beat across the board yesterday. AXT Inc., guys.
All right, AXT Inc. All right, so I'm still going to keep my faith in Apple. I don't want to scalp any more out, even though we are 20, 30 cents in the money. We've already taken some out here. We took out 40%. So, you know, trying to hold out for some more. We like this level, push back into VWAP, but it's not really giving much right here yet today. Could it still go? Yes, but for right now, it's not giving us much. Like, it's just kind of hovering around. The Nasdaq's doing a very, very similar dance here right now. Remember, we do have like a little bit of an odd situation today because we have the king of the castle reporting a huge number, and then we also have the NFP that came out, you know, cooler than expected, which gives us hope that potentially there is a move coming here for rate cuts. So I feel like, you know, there's a lot of good things happening right now. So I don't know if some of these stocks are a little overvalued today or not. We had a big move yesterday in the Nasdaq, but let's just stay, you know, in the pocket a little bit. We just take something out there for a profit on Apple. But again, waiting for higher moves, man. 185 and change to the high side for Apple. But if it fails, it fails. We do have lower takes here to come. So we're not going to hold out for something and dream that this eventually comes back. If we're going to be wrong, we're going to be wrong. Probably 184 break, and then we'll hold out for lower than that.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to take out some support on Apple there. I just covered some shares and then got back in a lower price. But first things first, Alibaba reloaded it at 05s, and then it broke 80. So we did scalp some out at 80.40 very quickly. It was right back into 80.05, reloaded the long, and then just got stopped out. So I'm out of Alibaba. Palantir also dipped into 23. So Palantir tagged 23. I got 4s, and then it hit 15s. It's right back at those teens. So a lot of dip buys coming in. I did get the Intel short. That's off the 31 level. The highs a couple of cents above.
There we
It's
go.
like 31.06 higher. But Apple, I mean, Apple, the same way I felt about Carvana yesterday, your attention is going to be on Apple. I thought maybe more Amazon, but we haven't even gotten filled in Amazon just yet. I do like it above 85 as well, Adara.
WOW, wide open west, popping to the upside here, up about 30% right now, receiving an unsolicited offer for by this Crestview, basically trying to buy all of the stock it doesn't currently own of the company for $4.80 per share in cash. So just an offer from Crestview for WOW for the rest of the company, guys.
Wow.
That seems.
Wow.
I guess we were thinking the same cheesy one.
Yeah, well, I've never even heard of that company, so that was an easy one. Okay, so we are long again here on the same trade. We were able to get some out there at 185, 185.08. You might have heard me say, here we go. But now we're going back down a little bit for Apple as the market. Just trying to hold out here. We're going to get out at 184 if it breaks, and then we'll go back over and see if we do continue to move to the downside here again today. Remember, you know, there was a lot of traders that were looking both ways on this. We talked about, or either way, right? Like a lot of traders long, a lot of traders looking short. So I could see, you know, a case for sort of both of these situations winning here today, as Apple was almost double at that point, up 7.5%, 8%. Its expected move was only 4%. So possible move coming back in here for Apple as we see some profit taking on a higher than expected earnings report reaction. So we're still long. We're still long here at 184.88. So we're basically flat on this trade against 184. So in order to make money on this trade, it obviously needs to get higher than where we are. But this is not necessarily a one-to-one trade, because I don't mind taking some pieces off here. You know, again, 185 teens, something like that, if we get that opportunity. But we are coming back into the downside. We've taken profit on Apple so far, but it looks like we're about to give it up if it takes 184. What's up, Adara?
Down here for DJT, Trump Media and Technology, trying to get some volume here to the downside. The SEC charging the company that audited Trump Media with massive fraud. So widespread auditing fraud, now apparently no longer barred or no longer allowed to audit public companies. So some bad news with its auditor, sending DJT strongly to the downside with volume, guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
that's okay. We have to
like I
take
don't
a
want
location.
to talk political here, but like his lawyers arrested and I think in
I'm
jail.
shorting pops in this.
Accountants now losing licenses, and DJT is a stock that we're supposed to be like, okay. I don't think this is a long. We've talked about this as a trading vehicle again. And by the way, Apple, let's go. But yeah, again, whenever there's smoke, there tends to be a lot of fire. There's been smoke around DWAC and DJT now for 6 years or however long it's been. So you guys know what you're getting involved with right now. But what I'm involved with right here is Apple. And let's go, man. This is what trading, in my opinion, the kind of trading that I'm trying to do here pretty much every day is try to figure out levels, try to figure out names that we like, get our money in there at good spots, and see if we're right. So here we go. It's a nice move up for Apple. We do have some numbers coming. We do have another trade alert happening right now. We'll see if we can go 3 for 3. This is Google coming in. Google just came into that 166 area. We did take some 25s. We are getting some more out here as it starts to rip back up to the upside again for Google. So there it is, man. Neil, this is going to be a 3 for 3 day so far here. But again, very, very early. Let's wait. It's very, very early because now we can go 4 for 4, right? We just need to find one more. And then there we go. Apple 30 cents, Google now a dime piece, and the market continues to be where it is. I may take a piece out here on the market, just seeing what economic numbers we do have coming out because it's on our watch list, and then I tweeted out right here as well. So 9:45, that's what it is, PMI. So in 5 minutes, we have a big number, honestly, coming out. So we're gonna have to wait for that. And imagine that's a little cooler than expected. Then that would be, we want it hotter than expected for PMI.
I was about to say cooler.
Yeah, my bad. We want a little bit hotter to get this market going because we're net long, baby. And there it is right there. Let's go, Google. You know what? We are in the building one more time. We wrote down Google down here, 166 long. All right, Neil, over to you, my guy.
So during the second I heard that news, I'm like, I'm paying for locates on DJT, and then the first available pop and short into VWAP on DJT. So we're in it. I got 45.60 because that's where it bounced to. VWAP sits at 46.5. It's already testing back into the bottoms. It could go SSR. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. And on top of that, daily chart, it's a breakdown underneath 44.5. So if it takes out fresh lows, this is a flat bottom break. So I think this is multiple shots at the short for me in DJT, giving it to here. And if we break 44, just look for continued longs as well. I am short on Intel. That one is right at the 31 level. Palantir did bounce nicely off of 23, but it's right back at about 23.30. So you're not anywhere near that high of the day just yet, but it's trying to break back in through the high of the day on Palantir. DJT falling like a rock. I just can't see any way that, if it fills in this gap, it's going to go 10% down and be SSR at some point. And I won't even be looking for an SSR bounce either. Not in this stock.
All right, we are almost out of Apple. It's going to break this 184, it looks like, very, very soon. We've done well to get out of it, but again, it won't be that stock that we had hoped it to be, especially if it does wind up breaking right here. But the stock that is everything that we thought it would be and a hell of a lot more is G to the O, O to the G, to the L. I'm not going to call it goggles. I'll leave that for you, my guy over there, as the professor crushing this chicken. And what? There's some nice green beans.
It's got to be, I thought it was eggs.
I like the green beans aspect in there.
In the morning?
Well done, Sharif. Well done. What's up, Adara?
In the morning? Green beans.
SGBX is up here for the second day in a row on a new catalyst. Safe Green Holdings today trading higher after its subsidiary announced that it's going to be delivering its first eco-friendly modular unit to a quick service restaurant. So quick service restaurant modular catalyst here for SGBX, $2.2 million market cap here, guys.
Apple just gave it up.
Kind of.
Apple just gave it up, taking
Why
out
not?
that bottom. I'm out. I'm flushing it down the
Yeah,
toilet.
yeah.
Oh, we just crossed 100
Vegetables.
away from 450,000. So we're already in spitting distance. We were already, and now we're just getting right into it. Shout out to everyone. We
Damn.
appreciate you there. I did just get DJT 44.75, so we took 70 pennies on that. Checked at 90 cents. I can't do math. I'm shorting this back into VWAP. I'm shorting the next consolidation that we get, if there is even a consolidation. And then I am short Intel off of 31. It is working to the downside, but Apple, not going to work. At the end of the day, it's going to break down. There were some good scalp trades, but the pre-market breakout price was the one where I'm going to have the most shares right in front of that 184, and it gave it up. It has to show me strength above that level, like higher low off 184 to get into a long, or give me like 183 or 182 and a half. So I want any other longs to be on strength above that number. And even if it goes through and I miss, if it can hold here and get back above VWAP and then consolidate VWAP, I don't want to miss that setup, because Alibaba did exactly the same thing yesterday. It rinsed the bottom and then gave you VWAP for a higher low. So I want to respect it if we're able to find that. Rivian is now off to the races. It did give you a dip buy while we're in Apple. Opportunity cost is opportunity cost. 1050 is going to be the out for me on Rivian.
I just want to tell everybody, like, today, so we're gonna go 2 for 3, but it's a huge trophy day right now so far, and it's because it's 2 for 3, and it's sticking, and this is what happens when you stick to your plan and you're able to put shares in, and the Google trade is really what helped it out. We lose on Apple, we win on Google, and we huge on the TQQs. What's up, Adara?
Waiting on these S&P Global Composite PMI and Global Services PMI numbers here. Global, both of them forecast and consensus are 50.9, so just waiting for the numbers to populate here. I'll see if they're anywhere else. Just have the SPY up. Yes, we did get the numbers. S&P Services PMI 51.3 and Composite PMI also 51.3. So both of these higher than the expected of 50.9. Nice look right now for the S&P Global Composite PMI, guys.
Future's still going, baby. We're still long the TQs, and we still get to go. Google goes as well. Google right there. Let's just, it's not a dollar club yet. Let's wait to see. I thought it was there, but we're long at 166. That was our trade that we marked down. But we do have the bottom of the day pretty much there on Google. So far, so good here as we continue to go, man. Like I was talking about it, is that we can be down on Apple, but still be in the spot that we need to be in, because, again, you want to diversify your portfolio. Make sure that you have a couple different plays that you're looking at. This is why I've really narrowed things down with the sticky note. Google's on here, Apple's on here, and the TQQs is on here, but we had that on the non-farm. So really we're just 1 for 1 and 1, Apple and Google, but still enough to be where we need to be. So far so good here. Let's see if this market wants to continue to fade out. It's coming close to those levels on Apple, man, where I think we may have to get more
at
involved.
18,000, by the way. Like big round, we talked about this number before. Like
Booyah.
all roads have led to this number multiple times here, but
Booyah.
you're right at that 18,000 level. If you punch through, it's gonna get sick to the upside. Obviously, I'm in DJT. That's
sick
got
with it.
news. It's underneath VWAP. I just reloaded it at 46 even, so average price now going to be at 45.80. I had 60s before, got even, so we got 80s now. If it gets back down into 45, I take some profit. If it breaks VWAP, I'm going to jump out of this, but that doesn't mean I'm thinking long on this stock. Even if I get out, I'm going to look for opportunities to be short. I don't think that is good news at all, and it's so high flying. I think the pressure is all in the other direction. Palantir, there was no reload on 23, so now I got to look to VWAP here on Palantir. It's already putting in higher lows. 23.25 looks pretty good on PLTR. Now, sometimes you get the bottom wick, and it looks great at 23, but you know, you can also have a situation like Alibaba, where it rips through that 80. We get the first bounce good, the second one doesn't work, and now look at it, it's recovered right through. So the bottom wick was 79.70. It wasn't exactly at that even dollar level. Still strong, and I do want to participate in longs above 80, but had to let this one travel through and then get back into it, looking for some VWAP there. Adara, what's up?
Some comments coming through here from Feds Bowman. Wasn't seeing these in the calendar, but Feds Bowman speaking right now, saying that she's willing to hike rates if inflation stalls and reverses. So repeating her interest in hiking rates potentially if there is a stalling in inflation, and saying that she still sees, quote, a number of upside risks to her inflation outlook. So just be aware of comments from Michelle Bowman. Also, TNDM, Tandem Diabetes Care, here to the upside. This one has market cap of about $2 billion, so pretty small here, and a short float of 14% up on an earnings beat, guys.
Earnings beat, you say? Okay.
There's a lot of earnings to get to.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
We didn't even talk about, well, we did talk about DraftKings, but DraftKings dipped heavily as well.
Really?
Bounced off of 40. Like, see, sometimes it bounces exactly off of the even dollar level, and other times it doesn't. This bounced exactly off $43, and it's now at 44.
Jeez.
Is what it is, but unless you're sitting at that level, it can be a tricky trade. It was never going to be one that I was in right at the open. I just felt there were other names that were more interesting. DJT, because of news and the way the stock moves, I think it's worth it to take a shot there. This is a stock that I've kind of been looking for a retracement anyways, in the general sense. So DJT, back underneath, well, it's been underneath VWAP the entire time. Until it's back underneath 45, I'm not taking any more shares out. And best entry point for Alibaba, I'd like to see it hold VWAP in here. Maybe I can get a higher low, but I got it on the way down. Sometimes it works. It did for Palantir. It didn't work for Alibaba. A higher low is going to have to be in store for that. Oh, shoot. Too late.
All right.
NVIDIA just broke 880, but when I say just,
Look
I
at
mean
Tesla.
about 30, 40 seconds ago. NVIDIA's through 880. 885 is a monster of a level.
Okay,
if you remember 885 the other day, that was a tricky short, even though it ended up really good. I'm not thinking short at 885 this time. I'm thinking this is a long if it can break that top. That's 880. I think it was 888 was the actual high that day.
All right, we are, so things coming back in right now, except for a stock that people may know and love. Its name is Tesla, and this name is absolutely Moon City.
Yeah.
We knew we wanted the long. We wrote down on our note 178, because that was that level yesterday that we gave up the ghost with. And we got stopped out of that trade only to see it rip up pretty much all afternoon. So it looks like, well, I mean, it was pretty violent there for a minute, but there it goes right now. Apparently Peloton is really active right now.
Squeezing.
Let's see. I mean, $3 up to 350, 360 right now. It looks like we got a good little mover here in Peloton, up 13% right now. All right, we are, as we like to say around here, we're reloaded on our friend Google. So it just came into our level again at 166. We're gonna let this one breathe a little bit. I mean, like we could say that, hey man, we've done really well. We're holding the trophy up here, but unlike Max Verstappen. Oh, by the way, Brendo, I heard that he may be moving over to Mercedes. Did you hear about that? What? Did you hear the number?
What?
Did you hear the number? It's $159 million a year for 6 years. So Mercedes offered this dude $660 million plus bonuses when he wins races that apparently he's going to win. So yeah, anyways, shout out. It's the largest, if he accepts it. Apparently there's something, I don't know enough about it, but his dad doesn't like Red Bull or something. Anyways, apparently if he accepts it, it's the largest deal non-Saudi for any athlete in the world. Because the Saudis been losing money hand over fist, man. They paid that.
They don't even care.
I know, that's how stupid it is. That's, shout out to Lucid. Ronaldo was not.
It's good for Lucid.
Yeah, and it's great for Ronaldo and those guys. Ronaldo just played the Saudi Cup in front of, I think it was 3,800 people. So you go figure that.
You got to figure the quick math on that, so for
so they're paying unbelievable amounts of money.
But for him, it's like for that much. Do you care?
That was the finals.
At some point.
The finals. The Leafs had 3,800 people around Scotiabank Dam Arena last night when the Maple Leafs push it to Game 7, which thank God is on Saturday. So now my kids can at least stay up. And me. And Neil can watch it. So I'm really happy for that. Look at Apple, guys. I put my thing on low DPIs. Apple is now making its move back up to the upside. Got to get this cursor faster. Right there, 184, trying to get back up to the upside. But we are long. Your boy is long right now on Google, and it's starting to go back up. So let's go. We'll sit back, relax, sip some coffee, and eventually put some cognac in here,
No, well, actually, no. I
but not until 11:01.
No, that's cognac. I wouldn't do in the coffee. I mean, you
Not
could-
hard enough?
I don't. You know, it's not. It's just not a cognac thing. I don't mind a little bit of rum.
I don't drink cognac.
No, but at the end of the
Who am I
day,
lying to?
the market is still at that 18,000. It's trying to go, getting a bit of a pullback in NVIDIA. Was able to get just underneath that 45 on DJT. So the higher low it put in the first time is 44.75. Some buyers stepped in there, or whatever, like literally one buyer stepped in there for a couple thousand shares and it bounced. I just got some out at 88s. So if it makes this higher low again and pops into VWAP, I'll be a little bit more discerning in terms of getting it on the other direction and getting it short. It's not SSR, which is a good thing. So it's not down that 10%. Don't have to worry about that. What else we got going on? Palantir, super strong. Remember, Palantir reports on Monday, but it's aftermarket, not before. On the bid VWAP for the dip buy, looking to trend it up. Now Palantir is not giving the dip buy anymore. So it's just only going to the upside. I think it usually does. When Palantir trends for the day, there's usually dips. They might not be as big as you want, but they usually are there. Rivian just dipped into VWAP while I was trading DJT. So I'm going to see if I can't get a little something and wet the beak in front of 20s. Apple, I do want back into it, but I said if I miss the bottom, the next step would be a higher low off that bottom or looking for a VWAP hold and long off of VWAP. So if it's going to trend all day, VWAP is always a decent trade. Zay, Neil doesn't like Henny. That's not exactly true. Although I will admit to this, I don't drink the Henny. And I did, and my last exam in university, that was the celebration of choice, and never again.
Okay, so 20 years, no drinking of Hennessy. I don't drink much at all, period. So
And I was out, and I went to the bar at Laurier after, which is not the school I went to. So I celebrated at the other university in our town. It was way more
even Waterloo still doesn't even have an on-campus.
Is it still lame?
No, it doesn't even have one. It doesn't even exist.
What about the Rev?
Does the Rev?
That was a club.
Yeah, but that's
Not the Rev. No, it's
the Rev was
Bomber,
not
the
on.
Bomber.
Yeah, that does not exist. That's
The
what I'm saying.
Bomber.
Does not exist.
There's no Bomber at Waterloo anymore? What are they doing at that school? You can't be all books, University of Waterloo. You got to have some fun too. Really? That's lame.
Yeah.
But you party at Laurier, where Sean went to school. That's fun times. Anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Yep. All right. So yeah, no, fun times all around. But make sure that you do have fun trading the market. But make sure you put stop orders in at all costs. There it is. So we're still waiting for 166. I'm giving this to like 165.80. So it's not really doing anything right now. I just took some out at 25s again. I was hoping that Google would really start to go. A little disappointed. The Nasdaq is gone. I mean, look at what's happening with the TQs right now. Spin it. I mean, we said we're going to hold this all day, and we're doing that, and it's working out. And there it goes, back up to the upside. Where's BPI, man? What's this guy doing? Sleeping off the.
I have a feeling he probably was celebrating.
Yeah. So.
No,
I mean, we have to be here, man. I got.
That being said, BPI has been one of the most consistent people on the floor.
Where's BPI at?
But I expected to see him in here in like full regalia after that win. But just a couple of quick things. NVIDIA is holding the highs pretty well. I just saw heard something on Meta.
No, just
it was just call volume.
Yeah.
See, the volume's
Well, it
not
just
loud
broke
enough.
450.
It just broke 450 to the upside, but it looks like it was call volume. There wasn't actually news. It's just heavy call volume as it's breaking 450. Let's go to Adara.
Another name-making move here is GME. GameStop. Yesterday, we saw a bit of a run in this one, starting in the early afternoon. Now continuing some momentum here with some volume. Not seeing any news on this, but lots of attention on social media. We do have the short float to consider. Right now, I'm seeing about 19.2% short float for GME, guys.
Yeah,
We loaded
GME every single day on whatever GME.
Let's go, Google, man. Whatever, GME. Yeah, you're right. You know what, Neil?
Whatever. Who cares?
Tell him. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with GME. We will have a look at that right now, but we're just spinning it right now, watching it, sitting back, relaxing. We talked about, that we were red yesterday. We did talk about that, but that is not the case today, as you can clearly see. As we'll just go 1 for 1. That's it. 1 and 1. Sorry, 1 and 1. L on Apple, which is, again, it broke. You're going to look here and be like, it's just right there. We were holding for that bigger move. And so all of these add up to an L, unfortunately, because we had a bigger position down there at 184.50. 185. We thought that could hold the VWAP, didn't hold, so we'll take that there. But then we came back, you know, like we said, with vengeance here on Google. But now Google, I mean, I'm starting to feel, and I'm going to say something here that I don't know if I believe it 100% or not, but I'm feeling like to get short now. Like I just
on Google.
No, not just on everything.
Oh,
like I'm not super happy the way this market's trading. Like the TQs are fine, right? Like that's nice. That keeps going, man. We're 6% in the money. We're probably about 4% in the money. We were long this name, so we're long. This trade is 100 handles. Like we went long rate at 830, so like we're long down here 19. Let's just say 19,940. It's at 1820 or 18,020. But the thing is now, that's 18,000. We've talked about this. We said that the one thing we wanted to add into our sort of portfolio of trading or our skill set is a look and try to. We always do this longer look, but then I don't really make positions based on this. So like now we're here. Like I feel that we just got to watch out for this 18,000. If we've hit it, we can now come back in. We said the Nasdaq was going to have a huge day today. It just had it, man. It's at 2% right now. I don't know the last time we were at and held over 2%. I feel like it's happened a couple times for sure this year, but I could see a fade, especially at 18,000. So let's start to, I'm not going to reload this. We do have a stop lower here. We are not going to turn red on Google, but it is coming out in a couple seconds here on a break through 80s. So that's my stop. I mean, we could put, you know, I'm not even. ISM, yeah, ISM in 15 seconds. All right, I'm not going to average into this one. We're not going to get saved by ISM, but let's go to Adara and get the number.
Switching on these ISM services numbers here, ISM Services PMI, chief among them. This one expected 52, forecast 51.8. We just got it in 49.4, so lower than expected here for ISM Services PMI. A lot of these other numbers coming in below their previous and their forecasts as well here. ISM Services business activity, ISM Services employment here, 45.9 versus 49 expected. ISM Services new orders here, 52.2 versus 54.5 expected. So a lot of these prints coming lower except for ISM Services prices, which came in 59.2 versus consensus of 55, forecast of 53.5. So ISM Services prices, the only number I'm seeing here coming in higher than expected. We did get a big drop here, decent drop as well in the SPY on that number with increasing volume as well. So a lot of these numbers coming in a little bit lower than expected for the ISM Services PMI, chief among them. Other names to keep an eye on here include Coinbase, having a bit of a move back to the upside, but now trickling back to the downside after its earnings report. And DraftKings also initially gapped up on earnings after reporting 53% year-over-year revenue growth, now falling back near this low 43, guys.
Look, I know I said Coinbase is one of the names I would look for a short, but that was specifically at $240, which is not happening today. And again, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But Intel, this did, like the ISM number just did this dipsy-do here. Like it gave me VWAP, and then I was almost refilled here at 31. But underneath VWAP, when I'm shorting a level like 31 on Intel, it's like give it to that local high, try to short the 31 area just under it, but don't cover it till it gets underneath VWAP and then to the low of the day and hold some for the low break. DJT, which I don't think cares about the market, did a spike and drop anyways, like everything else did, but I did not reload. I said I would only reload if it looked really weak. It's starting to get under VWAP again, so I'm going to go for the reload on DJT, which I think should not be adjacent to everything else that's happening in the market. But Rivian, I do have to concern myself with. We now have 12s as an average price because we had some of our 10s left, but if this can't hold the opening range bottom, which was 10.07, then I'm going to jump out and look for a deeper retrace on this. That was a pretty decent reversal in a lot of names. I'm glad I didn't punch the top on it. If there wasn't for the economic number, I might have taken the breakout on NVIDIA, and it would have just been a quick hit. But the number was coming out, so I elected not to take that break because I don't want a breakout trade when an economic number is coming up. Hey guys, it's bad timing.
Yeah, I know. And that's why we had to go to Adara basically immediately there when that hit. I just want to say that like we were saved right there. Like when that number came out, I mean, you might have heard me say I was bank error in my favor. Like that just came out. We were all the way down, almost getting stopped out. Then thank you very much. Boom goes the dynamite. We were able to get out, and then we only got it. We only had 10% left. Got out right there. Google PL number 1. TQs. I was about to get out there, but then I was just like, you know what? Let's just play VWAP. So we're going to play VWAP down here. I don't want to go longer now. I mean, that number, I guess, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's funny because a number that you thought might have gone the other way, how come I don't see it on here? There it is right here. Non-manufacturing, 49 versus 52. Manufacturing prices, 59 versus 55. So it's the ISM non-manufacturing prices, I think, is what's setting this to the downside there as prices get a little bit higher. It can't be great for certain names and the market, I'm guessing. Neil, Apple is down to 182.
You got to be kidding me.
So there's that.
Yeah, there's definitely that. Like I said, I didn't have much to the short side, and even then, like DJT had nothing to do with anything until that news came out. Like I'm short DJT not because I was betting on the market reversing. I'm short DJT because you're going to talk about your auditor being under trouble when it's got all these bad headlines. I'm like, we'll short the consolidation. That had nothing to do with the market. But Palantir just came out. Palantir was cruising, absolutely cruising. And we won for the reload. It's now almost back into 23, which I have to wait for 23 if we're even going to try this again. Rivian was also cruising. Thankfully, we had gotten almost all of Rivian out, but I reloaded and had an average price of 10, 12. I got it when it broke 10s. I want this to settle back down. Like the best trade was pre-market here. It's got to hold 10s or give me some kind of another entry off that name. Intel's different because I've been shorting Intel at 31 the last couple of sessions. Just didn't get a great opportunity at it yesterday, but that was a post Powell move.
There goes a TQ.
And it gave you that obvious level at 31, which we basically sat in the entire time he was on the podium, and it gave you that level again, so we shorted it on a couple of wicks, and that's all we got. So DJT and Intel to the short side, and Apple, now that it's made okay, there's a wick down to that 182.5. That's a decent level, that 182.5. I might try one more shot there. But I'm looking for opportunities. If we fail underneath 18,000 and we never get back above there, I need something short that isn't just Intel. I look over at Coinbase, and Bitcoin's still at 61.7, but it's underneath VWAP. That could be a play. I don't want to rush into anything just yet, but unless it's at a key level, or I can find an obvious trend, it's a time to be patient. It's 10 o'clock. You want to go back, reassess some of your ideas. Block is another one, but it's nowhere near the levels I like. Block is just falling apart at this point.
All right, yeah, new position. We went over it. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with Neil on all of this. Like, if we can find something that we really like, I just went over it. I said to myself, okay, if we're going to start to rebound here a little bit, we could always get into Apple. We love Apple. We've talked about that. But on earnings, a little trickier potentially than needs to be for Apple. But we went into Tesla, and now Tesla is booming now to the upside as we'll drop some money down right now. Up now 50, 60 cents on that dip buy there for Tesla. So let's see if we can get into 184 now. Let's just put an offer up there. I mean, we don't know. Hopefully it can fill back to the upside there as yes, sir. Let's go right now, everybody. Look at this trade. It's $1 in 1 minute right there. Your Dollar Club new member right now goes Tesla all the way up to the upside. Let me just take a piece out. We were waiting at 78 to make exactly $1, but let's get a piece out if we can get just 5 more cents. Oh no, it stopped. 183.60. See, oh, we're at 183.70. Let's see if we can get that price, but there it is right there. If you're trading over here, look at Tesla. Nice move. Get it. Give me that 70. Get it, girl. Nice move right there as we go long on Tesla. We back in the building, baby. That's another one right there. Another name on the sticky note. It's Tesla, and it is once again brought to you by @TraderTV. Sean, go follow me everywhere. And thank you so much for the subscriptions. It's free. You just have to hit the like and the subscribe. What's that number at, Miss Ramin? What is that subscription number at? Ooh.
We're getting close.
I mean, come on. How many people are watching? Honestly,
it's so close.
No more trading. How many people do we have here watching? 70. Yeah, the likes is going to be wrong. 7,600 people watching. All right. That's it.
We can get this.
Yeah, yeah. Until that reaches 450,000, 82 away. I'm hands off keyboard because I want to see that going here right now. What's up, Miss Yellow Dot? What's up, Kevin? What's up, everybody in the chat? This has been a fantastic day. It's a Friday. We're moody, baby. This is a good one right now. We've got lots of good feels, man. We've got the Maple Dam Leafs are back in the building. Shout out to everybody in Boston. It's going to be a great series. Don't worry, we've lost 6 straight Game 7s.
Why would you have to,
Okay,
to say that?
so don't worry, everybody in Boston. It'll be all right. But if the big dog Austin comes back, then you're going to see some fire coming through that building there at TD Bank Arena. Is that what it's still called over there? We got TD Bank versus Scotiabank. That should be fun.
Didn't they both get fined?
Did Scotia get fined? I don't know.
There was 3 banks that got fined, I think.
Oh, that trade yesterday. By the way, guys, if you're here yesterday, I don't know what TD Bank is doing today, but this turned out to be like PL1. And we nailed that trade. Oh, wow, it's getting smoked again. I don't know if you had that. You said that you were going to do some deep thinking on the train yesterday. Down another 3%.
I liked it to not overreact.
Right, okay, probably good decision.
Because support's at 50, it's like 54, 55.
Yeah.
I'm like, if it breaks
Probably buy more down there.
Yeah.
Right there. So here's TD Bank. We had this short yesterday on that news. So boom goes the dynamite. You can see TD Bank left asleep. Then fraudulent behavior apparently with some laundering of fentanyl and all that kind of stuff.
Laundering of money that might have been profits from fentanyl.
Fentanyl, yeah.
Like
not laundering.
They're not dealing fentanyl.
No, they're not that smart. They're dealing with the money. You deal with the drugs. That's where you really
If
get
they
paid.
were, I would have dumped the stock right away.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously.
Well, yeah, if your bank were drug dealers, yeah, you should dump that stock.
Hey, why
okay, so
we have no ARM. Oh, we have to pay for ARM.
okay, right. So there goes Tesla. We just got a piece out there at 184. You guys saw me take that as it falls back in. Watch out for a break lower of 182. We on one today, guys.
So check out the wick candle on ARM. I was just looking for something else that we liked to the south side. ARM did this move, and I said, okay, well, if you're failing underneath 105 again, I want to try that short to that wick, which is 104. But we have to pay. It was literally 1/8 of 1 cent yesterday on ARM, but we still have to pay for the locate. So I'm just going to quickly process it. It does not take very long. You just have to make sure you both hit yes, you want it, and then confirm. So I want to short here into the high, which would be like 103.5. If it pops underneath VWAP, I might look for a little something else to the downside. I'm back into Palantir. Palantir did make a nice move. Back to the upside here, putting in that higher low. It's held 23. I'm back in the pocket with them. And yeah, it was exactly 1/8 of 1 cent. I knew it was going to be that. That's what it was yesterday. 1/8 of 1 cent on a $100 stock is free shorts.
Yeah. Boy.
Essentially, we just have to process it. That's all.
day.
So shout out to Real Trading for the cheap shorts. Remember, borrowing costs at a prop 4 where you're day trading is going to be different than what you guys might see. Like we can short DJT for 7 cents a share.
Right.
Because we're in and out multiple times in one day and we're not holding overnight. That's the reason for the difference in cost.
I'm going to try a little piece here at 40, a little bit more at 25 here on Tesla, because it's still, we said we would be patient with our sticky notes, so we just got a little bit longer there. So we are being patient with it. That's one of the things here, first of all. Second of all, we wrote down 178. Like, I mean, this market could really, and here it comes in right now, could go now. We're under 18,000. I feel like one last shot here. It's only 10:11, so it's not like it's super late or anything, and it's not super early either. The market is trying to hold, but under 18,000, we talked about trying to add a higher look to our trading. So that's what I'm doing. Not like layering into longs here when the market looks like it wants to do something else. So for me, let's hang out a little bit. We do have a lower bid here for Tesla. If this breaks 182 clean, I'm not even waiting for like 181.50 or 181.75. This is a trade based on relative strength here. I thought Tesla, we saw it moon early against kind of the market. Now we've pulled back here a little bit, so has Tesla, and we are about, did we just get stopped out? Yes, so there we go. It just broke through 182. I guess, did it? That was weird. I'll try that one more time there and give it a little bit more room. And I know I just said I wouldn't do this, but that was like a real a real quick stop right there. Let me get back in on that at 10s and then see if we can get something out in the 40s or whatever. But there we go. We're back into Tesla now. That was really quick. I'm going to check my blotter there. Okay, well, there we go. We're back in it. Money being made now, but that was a really, that must have broke 182. I don't know what else to tell you guys. But we got back in there. Yeah, we got 181.94s. So it did break. Out there, we got back in. We just got some out at 40s there a little bit. But yeah, Tesla back in fourth rate now.
I'm noticing spreads are a little bit.
Yeah, like that broke and came right back. I didn't even see that break. But anyways, that was a loss, but we're back in it. Let's wait for that wick one more time to the downside. If it happens again, then that's that. That was just real quick, and I didn't even see it there.
By my observation, almost every stock I'm looking at has a little bit less liquidity than you would normally see. Like this is, look at Intel's book right now. This is not for Intel. You don't really see many people with 1,000 shares like you'd usually see. Most of the books would have 1,000 instead of just a couple, and you're not seeing any prints over 1,000 shares. We'll keep it in there. There was one print. So most of it's a little bit more thin. So watch out for your stops. Like even dollar stops are going to have some trouble there, and you're getting a lot of dark pool wicks. I would suspect, so be careful. Just a little bit less liquidity than most stocks I'm accustomed to seeing. VWAP on ARM just came in, so we just shorted there at 103.5-ish. I got 40s as an average price. Taking some out in front of VWAP, and then 100 is a big level on ARM. Why is it a big level? Well, because look at what this did at 100 the last 3 days. Pops 100, fails at 100.5. Pops 100, fails 100.5. Pops 100, fails at 100.5. The first question I would ask myself is, Neil, why were you not short ARM every single day when it did that? I actually don't know the answer. It's in some ways idiotic. Like it was fail breaking $100 even and dropping $3 3 times. Wow, ARM. Anyways, so I want that 100 possibly as support here, and I would get out of the short in front of it. That's an obvious pattern. I'm still in Intel to the south side. That is now down around those lows. Any stock that on the last run we had yesterday in the markets, and on that economic number that we had breaking out, if you can't even get through the highs from the Powell speech, then you're not that strong. Everything else was busting out those highs. Intel never got through 31, so it's still a short at that price. Is what it is. I'm back into Palantir, but I feel like that has a chance to break this 23. If this market catches a bid here, off of 17.9, I think we got a good chance. If we can post a higher low and get back higher, great. But Palantir has to hold on to 73, or it's going to have to give up the ghost on this. I don't want it to start gap filling on me. And Pop in Short says, why not look at Square? I had a plan of action for Square, but 100% of my plan of action for Square was if it holds 76.5 at the open, I go long. At the open, it instantly failed 76.5. So there's just no trade for me. I wish I could tell you I was looking for a short at that price, but I was not. I was looking for longs above 76.5. It was the right price. I was just only willing to trade it one direction off of that price.
All right, we just went in the money on Tesla, now 50 cents, but still looking for VWAP. A little bit of a move back up as the market's trying to bounce off VWAP. So we'll try to respect that as well. So we've got Tesla long and Palantir long. Again, I'm trying to do what we're trying to do here. Stick with this, man. We've had Apple, Palantir, Tesla, Google, and TQs. We've had every single trade on the sticky note today that we've talked about. So, again, nothing's really moving too much. We did really well to get out of the TQs here, I feel like. And shout out to Nunya Biz in the chat. He was like clapping out for this. And honestly, most proud of this trade right here. I mean, being positive on Google and getting out of the way when this is what the chart looks like. Obviously, we'd like to have, so Tesla just came out, by the way. It looks like it just tanked again. And we were just in the money, 40 cents. So, okay. Tesla's flat stock. We're able to make some back there. But to be able to get out of the way there on Google, something else. So I feel really happy with avoiding that. That potential disaster, to be honest with you. Now down into 164. Not looking super healthy, but maybe that 162 coming into play again. If we're going to be playing any kind of dip buys, I was going to say, what about Apple? But it already did that move. So we got to find something else. But I do like Apple dip buying into those levels for sure.
Yeah, Apple was that quick turn into 182 half. Like the wick there was it was fast. I mean, if you're sitting on the bid, you get it, no problem. But now that it's at 184, like my play is, Either it's the 182.5 and you get some kind of a low tight to it, or it's got to be holding VWAP. It's still trending to the downside. I've slapped the L on that one today, but I kind of like Carvana yesterday, although Carvana was a nothing burger for the first hour. But kind of like Carvana yesterday, I knew this is where I wanted to put risk at 930, and it was not a good looking long. Speaking of Carvana, I kind of threw that in there because I realized that we hadn't had a look at it. And so this is the thing.
What?
Obviously, I like Rivian, I'm not going to complain about it. I knew I wanted to have eyes on Apple, but I was even asked in the chat this morning, what's your plan for Carvana today? And it's not to look for the break, but if it fails the top, just look to go short. Because that's the only trade that was any good yesterday, was if it cannot break out that high, look for the short. Look what happened to Carvana. Could not break the high, now trend down. The good news is it's only 1018, so there's lots that can still happen, like a consolidation, short off of VWAP, like all kinds of things. This trended down after that yesterday. And I've already paid for locate, so if it gets into VWAP, I can try to trade Carvana. But it's still failing that top. You cannot squeeze if you don't break highs, in my opinion, because shorts like to put stops at levels like highs. So we're in ARM. Intel's continuing to work. I might reload that one. But I'd like to see us maybe run back into that 18,000 before I'm convinced I want to reload shorts or put in a distinct lower high. Right now, we're still testing 17.9 on the Nasdaq.
Ugh, yeah. Yeah, that's part of it.
Oh, Amazon.
Palantir's falling in just a little bit here for me. We just got more. We're long at 10s right now, watching out for a little bit lower here. We had tested it at the 200 period and got out. That was like less than a 5-cent hit, but now we're back into it right now, just waiting to see. I mean, Google continues to get cranked down here. Hold on. OpenAI. This is an earlier report. I don't know why we didn't have this. Wow, it would have been nice to have it. OpenAI looking to do a search engine. So yeah, that's hitting Google. I wish I would have seen that before, but can't have all the news. They said that was an earlier report, so I don't know. But okay, so that would be definitely affecting Google, I would say, when you get a gun directly pointed at you. I'm not worried about it as a long-term thing. This is just something that bounces around. So looking at Microsoft now as OpenAI, obviously will be doing something with Bing or whatever, maybe, I guess. I shouldn't say obviously, but right into there, 405.30. I mean, a nice break there for Microsoft. Maybe play that long. But
just one note about that.
Yeah.
I will cop to this. Like I use Google as my search engine for a while now, just kind of convenience. But I now have, I'll use Edge here, and I'll actually use Edge sometimes at home, my laptop, specifically because I can just open up the Copilot. And it's so simple, and I can ask GPT there. When we're answering questions live, and I'm going somewhere, I have my Edge browser up, and I'm going there, not even Perplexity anymore. It's the convenience factor, man. And the convenience factor is not something to be messed with. If everything is near enough the same, then I'm going to use this thing that's the most convenient. So I'm not saying I'm okay with Google. I own Google. I bought that on the dip of the 200 period. But
why is Bing more convenient than a tab that you'd have open on Perplexity?
It's just simply because I'm already comfortable with it.
So it's not convenience, it's comfort.
Well, I'm using Windows at home, my laptop anyways. So it's just so much easier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And a lot of people, if you're like an old head who's just like, yeah, you're already there, it's actually opening it up for you automatically.
See, for me, I'd have to change everything because I never use Bing or anything. I've never ever used Bing.
Yeah. Well, I also I've used it for other productions. Switch to Bing. Apparently, we're hearing productions of Fabian and Ramin, guys. A couple of things before we get to Adara. Palantir needs to hold this 23. I'm on the bid, but I haven't gotten filled in front of 23. Arms under VWAP, that's looking good, but it's a longs I'm concerned about here. Let's now go to Adara for small cap recap.
IWM mirroring the movement of the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 a little bit here with that nice move up into the open, then kind of heading to the downside. Still positive on the day right now, though, about 1% for the Russell 2000. Lots of small cap names to talk about. Some of these are going to be earnings plays, including Ardelyx. This one has a 14.5% short float, beat earnings across the board, up about 24% here. Next up, we have Safe and Green Holdings, XGBX. This one also moved yesterday on a different catalyst. Today, though, announcing that its subsidiary is preparing to deliver a modular unit to a prominent quick service restaurant customer in the Pacific Northwest. And last but not least, another earnings name here, Upland Software, UPLD up about 50% on an earnings beat. So just like earnings are moving a lot of these larger indices, same thing we're seeing here with these small caps, guys.
Thank you very much there, Adara. We're falling.
The market's going
We're
down.
at 17.9 now. So at this point,
Just short Tesla.
either ARM breaks down from here, or I don't want it getting back underneath VWAP, because I think it's starting to get like, why are you not falling further? And remember, this was a strong stock, so it's putting in higher lows. I'd expect it to hold the 100. Maybe I'll respect the 101 as well. And then I got to go over to Intel. Like, Intel's still at VWAP here. I'd expect we'd be testing the lows on Intel. So I'm going to get a bid down in the 70s and see if we can't catch a little something at that low the next time. But some weakness coming into this market. I want to get over to Amazon. I totally forgot about Amazon, but I look over and it's not even at that 185. So Amazon's still nicely above that breakout price from that double top 185. Yesterday's high, it's the Powell high as well. So it's at least something that I can look for a dip by. But Palantir, I got 12s long in here, 12 half long on Palantir, and that's not a great price in front of 23 even.
No, we've got 7 halves, but yeah, I'm still not super happy with Palantir for sure. I was trying to get some out at 12s and missed. I'll put a little baby bid on Palantir, or offer, sorry, at 10s. But I don't really want to get out at 10s. I'm going to cancel. I mean, whatever. All right, new position alert. Thank you for the respect there in the chat. I think it was AV. You said that we managed Tesla pretty much perfectly. Thank you for talking about that. But we went short now, Tesla. So I just said this market's in trouble and we need to go short on something. So we just picked Tesla because it was giving me such a hard time for the longs. So we picked Tesla. I don't know whether or not it works now or not. I mean, we were just bidding 181.10s. It went to 181.17. And then now Bob bounces right back up. So we were just like, yay, we're short Tesla, what a great trade, to now it's all the way back up. So as we say, just be careful with everything. We did take a fill there at 9s on Palantir, or 10s, as it just came back up on that move. But for right now, we're, okay, here, see, here comes Tesla again. Give me those 10s, baby. We're bidding, oh no, oh yes. Let's go. There it is right there. We're back in the building again. Fabian, well, we're never going anywhere, so I guess we're always here. And there it goes right now. Nice move back in. We flipped the script on him. And there it is, $1 the other way. So good job there for Tesla. Bad job for Palantir.
Yeah, we got to join this party. It's a flush kind of day because it was, I mean, again, the number was so powerful to the upside. Like, you saw what the Qs did.
Still my number one stock.
But now it's the short. Like, we're underneath that 18,000. The candle looks pretty bad. Like, if you look at that reversal at 18,000, like, that doesn't look very good. Come to my chart for a second. That doesn't look very good on the futures. Like, it's hard not to be thinking short. I flipped to Intel and ARM because those are two names I knew were at some decent levels. But looking back at Coinbase, it's sort of stair-stepping it as well. I don't love that Bitcoin's over 60,000, to be real with you. So I would need something of a good setup to like the 230 level. So we'll probably have to pop a little bit further for me on Coinbase. I see lower highs on NVIDIA. I'm seeing the same thing pretty much across the board on most of the chips. Like, this is AMD doing exactly the same story. Palantir just gave up 23. So we're out of the long. Thankfully, we got a big short on. About $1.50 in the money on ARM, and looking for some opportunities in a couple of other names. Those are the two that I happen to find, in terms of Intel and ARM. I'd like to find a couple of others. Coin would have to get a little tighter to VWAP as far as I'm concerned. And even then, it's bouncing as the market's taking out lows. So hang on to your butts, hang on to your shorts as well.
All right, guys. I said the TQs is still my biggest position, but it's not. Google is P&L 1 despite having this happen to it. As we just talked about, like the destruction potentially of their number one, not the destruction, competition into their number one avenue, which is search. So there goes Tesla, man. We took $1. We're going to wait for lower on this one for sure. Google's going to get to a point where we want to buy it. I guess Apple's a short. I just not able to short it. I don't know. Yeah, let it keep raining today. Yeah. I mean, we're short. We only have one trade. We're short. We're short right now. and we like it. So the other name that we looked at short here today, I know Neil had DJT.
Square
I don't
might go red.
Yeah, I don't have anything written on here. I had DraftKings. I don't have anything written for short because of the way the market moved. And then now, of course, we're going to show you that the only position we have is short, and it's having that ability, right? We talked about that. All right, Tesla's breaking lower, so that's good. DraftKings, I wrote down, and it's too bad. We wrote down, honestly, 46 short. 45.78, high of the day. Bang. There's a compliment in there about Neil was good at explaining things, Sean was good at trading things as far as bigger size. And the thing is that, here's the exact quote. Let me read it exactly here. Sean really has instincts to choose the right side. Neil explains nicely the insides. So that's exactly like everybody trade, your thing, right? I mean, that DraftKings, that's the fact that we talked about that, added it to the sticky note here today, that 46 level. Look, we don't have it, no doubt about that, but glad that we had talked about that and that was a level of interest there for us.
That got to 46.
So yeah, it got 20 cents away from that level. And we tweeted that out. It was right off the open. But again, it just showing you sort of like the ability to have a look and then trade different names. Like you could only have DraftKings today, and it would be great. You could only have Google Long today, and that would be horrible if you didn't get out. So it's about like adjusting sometimes to the trade that's right in front of you.
And what's amazing about that is like DraftKings, had it bid at 44, I like the long, and specifically I was like, I do not like the long because of that 46. It was already at 45. So if support's at 44 and resistance is at 46, how can you like a long at 45? I don't think you can. At 44.20, you could like a long because it's got good risk to reward. That's why I like Palantir 23, win or lose, because it had room to 25.
Oh my God, it's back above.
But I saw Palantir. I just want to see it hold higher lows. But I'm trying to figure out why this got posted by Randy.
GG.
Because, look, I love butter tarts, but why does this say dinner on it? Because as far as I'm concerned, if I go into the back and they're there, I'm getting a butter tart. Like, what do you mean dinner?
Dude, you're completely missing the point.
That's from what?
Those are disgusting. That's the whole point, is that that's been sitting in there
That was sitting from dinner?
Well, look at that picture. That looks disgusting.
But I didn't see that this morning, though.
Neither did I. I'm just judging based on that picture. I just think you have it
Usually
wrong.
they come in the morning. Okay, well, if it's there from last night, that's disgusting.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I think he posted it in there because
I love butter tarts.
Yeah, we know everybody loves butter tarts.
I'm a huge butter fan.
Yeah,
so
you're just missing the point.
Palantir, I've made bottom wick. That said, if it can hold VWAP or it can regain that 23, like it is what it is. Like I had a stop at the 23. I knew I was going to have a stop at the 23. It doesn't necessarily mean the trade is over, because you can still stair step it up by holding VWAP. You could come back in, you can bounce off 23. You just have to be patient for one of those two things to happen. But for now, let's go to Adara for the crypto update.
Not one, but two crypto-adjacent earnings we had yesterday. We had Coinbase, which you would expect to have some crypto mentions, nice revenue beat for them. But we also, more interestingly here, had SQ or Block Inc. with Jack Dorsey saying that they're looking to invest 10% of their Bitcoin profits into Bitcoin investments every month. So SQ doubling down on Bitcoin. Interesting story here, crypto-related story for SQ in addition to those Coinbase earnings. Next week, too, stay tuned. We get CleanSpark and Marathon Digital both reporting after close on Thursday, following some reports from MSTR and Riot earlier in the week. So crypto earnings in full swing. Bitcoin itself, you're having a nice recovery after a couple days of sell-off here, pushing back above that 61,000 level. Ethereum also back above its key level of 3,000, up about 2.5%. And a lot of these other crypto-related names pretty strong here as well. Solana up 4%, Ripple up 1.5%, Cardano up almost 2%, and Dogecoin and Shiba Inu both up 5.5% here. So not a bad day for cryptocurrencies and crypto-related names heading into the end of the week, guys.
You know what else isn't having a bad day? The weed stocks. Well, okay, CGC. I shouldn't say the weed stocks when I've only looked at CGC. I have not seen ACB or Tilray or Sundial. But look at it hold 10. There's a higher low. That's the kind of setup you look for when you're trying to break the low and fail it, and then break back out. And the market doesn't have to go up for these to go up, which is sometimes a good sign. The market's trying to go back up anyways, but anything off VWAP or consolidation off of this break on CGC after consecutive days down 10%, There you go. There's a hold of the low. I like that long setup because you have room to 1150 and more. So I'm going to get on the bid at the 3/4 mark and buy some dips in this cannabis name. Didn't think this was going to be the case. I thought there was a decent chance this could have broken down $10 today, to be honest with you. I paid for locates pre-market because I thought this could be breaking $10, but it didn't. It held $10, and now it's making higher lows, so I like the long.
All right, so Tesla's is at the low of the day, and it just keeps on bouncing off 180.50. So, I mean, if you guys want to take this, honestly, like, everybody, what's up to Kevin Mendoza? Thank you for your nice comments, everybody there in the chat. It means a lot. But it's just about, like, honestly, you have to trade. Let's go. I mean, here we go. We flipped up the script on Palantir. I mean, I talk about this every single day. There's another low of the day that I made, and I know Neil made it as well. Like, that's exactly, like, every day I do this. Yesterday we had the high, I think, on Tesla or something like that, or the low, I guess, on Tesla when it broke through that 176. And here we have it again on Palantir, okay? But your boy don't stop. That's the one thing that you're always going to, hopefully, learn about the way I trade. We didn't stop on anything. We just re-looked at it, we settled down, and have the ability to potentially rethink the other damn way around right now. So it came right up to VWAP, nicely described up there. And then now it's just coming back in. So now we'll put a little bit more money back into our account on this Palantir trade. If it fades out, baby. We're now $1 and change now, $1.40 in the money on Tesla. Intel and ARM, like, I haven't really looked at, I know Neil, I'll just say that because I know I was just looking over to see what Neil was in there. I haven't looked at this. I know we talked about this was breaking.
NVIDIA did break it.
Yeah, 880. So, but not much there for me on that one. And then AMD, not much on that either right now. But Palantir, man, nice move. Now dime piece. We'll put a bid on this one and take another piece out for that, as Palantir's coming in quite nicely now. So we'll wait to see if we can get even lower than that. Bid dimes, see if we can get out, and then see if there breaks lower again here on PLTR. I said take profit if you wanted it on Tesla. It is coming into a level now that I could see 180 possible profit take. We're $1.70 now in the money at this 180 mark. So take it if you want. There goes Palantir. All right, we're really rocking right now. We're almost at the highest spot we've been at all day.
And we're getting a little high as well because
not on your own.
$11 just went. Definitely not on your own supply. You know.
Well, sometimes.
No.
Depends if you run out or not.
It depends on how you want to roll. I'm just saying. You got to do.
I mean, roll or you concentrate, whatever you want.
Yeah, that was pun intended, by the way. We said 10.75 for the dip buy, 10.75. Any way you want to cut it, 76. It just got to 11s. Gonna stair step this one to the upside. I think it's got a pretty decent chance. Like, now that you've broken this on higher lows, want to just be looking for dip buys back into previous support. So the 75 for now. If it breaks 11, work off that level. And I want to go back over to Intel if I can, because this is at VWAP. Oh, nope, didn't get filled. All right, so this is at VWAP. It put in that higher low off 30.85, but still underneath 31. Why 31? That's why 31. So either we get short at 31 or failing a lower high under VWAP. Unless you're, to me, you're either shorting the same resistance level or you can short a trend in the downside. If you're shorting a trend to the upside, like higher lows the entire way, I think that can get you into a little bit of trouble. Joseph in the chat, we didn't really look at this stock. We looked at it and then didn't trade it. I'm talking about GameStop. And GameStop's doing it again. Like, it's just going, and there isn't necessarily a reason why. That makes a lot of sense to me. But if it's going to be this strong, there was one pullback that gave you a chance late in the day, and that was it. And then it just sort of ramped again. So I would say if it does anything resembling that little dip, like it did last time, just try to find something. Maybe it's VWAP, maybe it's like 1340 in here. If it does the same pattern as yesterday, you might only get one shot to get in. That was a 15-minute chart. And it looks like there's a million entries on a 3-minute, but I like a 15-minute to show you that trend.
All right, good trade for Palantir, $1.20 in the money still. But yesterday we disappointed everybody because the lunch was late and we didn't run it. But I think I just heard it come through. So let's go. What's for lunch? All right, I know the trading hasn't been disappointing, so let's see if the lunch is. Well, this week has been full of some of these. We actually even had some chicken dinner winners here with Wingstop, and damn, that lemon pepper was good. Shout out to my guy Sharif there. Thank you for suggesting that one, and that's what we went with. And then shout out to also Ramin, that mango habanero. Those, like if I was gonna order two, probably would be those two, honestly.
mango
After
habanero
that,
was delicious.
That was delicious, and on the lemon pepper was my favorite. I love garlic parm as well, so that's a great call.
That one I'm not a fan of.
Yeah. So I like that, but I would prefer those two. But anyways, today's lunch, let's do it one more time. Why not? It's what's for lunch. All right. Today's is an interesting one, and it may be a tasty treat. Today is grilled orange apricot. Breast of chicken.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of apricot in there, a little bit of chicken. Let's see how that goes down. Grilled orange apricot breast of chicken with, shout out to Hamster, he always wants to know what's going on. Roasted baby potatoes, my favorite personally. And sweet potatoes, okay. Combination, roasted baby potatoes and sweet potatoes with a side of corn on the cob. I'm down.
Tax.
I am down with that. Shout out to the caterers around here for making us, once again, a tasty treat.
Yeah, I mean, the corn
And
on
we
the
had
cob,
tuna on the salad yesterday, so that's a win-win.
but they also put potatoes on our salad, which
I just trash those.
I find like that a little bit weird, but yeah, the corn on the
don't
cob,
trash them.
that's a win-win. Definitely having that. There's always leftovers. I don't understand why on the trading floor side, there's always leftover corn on the cob. Like they don't want to eat
There
it.
is?
Yeah.
Okay, the only thing I ever see left over is salad. I actually made a comment about that the other day. I was
No one
like,
likes to
"Boys,
eat
have
their
some
salad except for us.
Have some salad up in
Healthy.
here.
Healthy move in Amazon today. It
Cookies,
is
yeah,
holding
the
on to
cookies were
VWAP.
good.
I think you got to still go long Amazon. We wanted 185. It never got to 185. We'll come to the chart for a second. We didn't
where's
get
Captain
185 on the
Protein? Oh, there he
dip.
is.
I
What's
want
up,
the
Captain
higher
Protein?
low
Yeah,
off
yeah, yeah.
VWAP on Amazon. This is a strong stock in my opinion, and I only want to be looking for longs. If it fails underneath VWAP, I know we can get out. So 186.5 is that as we go to Adara for Sector Watch.
A lot of sectors looking to end the week on a high note here. We have some strength from electronic technology and technology services with the exception of Google. The rest of these sectors, though, here very strong. Lots of strength as well in retail trade, produce manufacturing, consumer services, transportation here. Transportation on watch as well. Both Uber and Lyft reporting next week, so definitely stay tuned for those earnings. Finance also pretty strong here as well. And same with the health technology, though some of the bigger names in here, Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, and Merck a little bit weaker. In terms of weak sectors across the board, a couple to talk about. Consumer non-durables not seeing a lot of strength here. Neither is health services and energy minerals pretty heavy to the downside, but we will have to check out this retail trade sector next week. Some earnings in the sector, including Home Depot to watch out for next week, guys.
Earnings season ain't over. And speaking of an earnings name which is not participating, 41 to go. We're underneath my lucky number. Not lucky number, my favorite number, which is 42. 41. We need to get there before we come back on air. If we're back at 2 o'clock, we definitely should be hitting that. If not by 11 o'clock when we go to Learn to Trade, I think we can get there. Who wants to be the lucky 450,000th subscriber? We appreciate every single one of you. You guys are all amazing. What's not amazing is block. So last I checked, if the market's holding higher lows and trending up and Bitcoin's holding well above 60,000 and this is this week, I don't see a great long on Square. It rejected the key level that we like the long off of. And once that happens, it's stair step to the downside. This close is what I like here. You go back on the 30th and it closed at 73 bucks. So that's key close price. It rejected the day before. That gives you a level to work off of. And then 73 right here underneath VWAP. So pretty simple. I like this at 73 to VWAP joining the trend. I thought Square was going to be a long over 76.50. It just never held. And you got to be able to flip the script on it. And we're going to jump into the shorts underneath 73 on block. CGC's going. Amazon, we like it. VWAP. I'm keeping my eyes over on Apple because it's doing its best to try to hold VWAP. It's not, but it's trying. Apple's doing its best. You got that wick at 182.5. If this can bust through 185, a lot can change for this market. But there's a lot of weakness still. Some in the chip names, and Square just way too weak. I have to short the pops in Square.
So one of the, again, and I know, a lot of us know, we talk about this, how real traders can see real traders. Adam there in the chat brought up the fact that it was something, important to be able to switch up your game. And I just said that right here. Go find me at TraderTV Sean. Lesson time. I should have put like lesson 1, but there's numerous lessons. Look at Tesla, man. We were going long. We talked about that. We were long early, short once we saw the Nasdaq fail at 18K. We pulled the Nasdaq up. We got out of Google. We got out of our TQQs. Like, we sniffed out basically this whole move, and then we did this. We went short 182. Once 182 failed, we let it dance around a little bit. Then we went short. Now we're $2 in the money, on this move to the back end here for Tesla. So although the market's trying to figure it out, I am going to take a bid now on Tesla, just even right here at 40.41. It's been a nice move to the downside. We want to be able to capture some of this. Hey, look, it could go all the way back up, and then we failed. It didn't break 180. Okay, but we had to try. We had a shot at making something happen there. Didn't happen. Now you got to regroup. So that's fine. It's called a chip in a chair. And we had a chip and a chair. And we still do. So now we got to regroup. You got to see what happens, on all of these trades. Just like Palantir, great comeback until it's not, and now it's all the way back up. This is why you get out. We're out of 2/3 of this trade and probably going to reload this, although the Nasdaq is like, how quick was that? The Nasdaq now breaking through the 50 period and going higher. So it's a good thing that we just talked a little bit about that Tesla, because this name now starting to go as well. So we should have got out instead of just putting a bid when we talked about it. We should have just marketed out right there and saved ourselves what apparently is 30 cents. But still a good day here, obviously, as we'll wait to see what happens now with Palantir. I'm waiting for more short up at 28.
And speaking of,
and we just got it.
Short, 18,000 retest right now.
Oh, that's the thing.
So that's the thing. Like, we wicked. Like, that's a pretty nasty wick if you were trapped long above 18,000. So if we don't get back above 18,000, that's like a reload spot for the shorts. In the futures or whatever, weed doesn't really matter, I think. I mean, whatever. If CGC starts caring about what the market does, that will be a change from the norm. So I don't really care about reloading or getting out of CGC just because the market's at a resistance point. But Intel's at that 31. So I'm getting on the offer for the reload there. It also means this is a good time for, why did I just go to Tesla when Apple's what I had in my mind. Apple trying to hold this VWAP and break through 185. If we do take 18,000, I'm going right back to the well. And then this is the thing I'm going to like. That's a nice wick bottom. If we hold above 18,000, it's Apple above VWAP that I want long. But I just reloaded Intel short because I'm still feeling like I want to give a chance to the 18,000 failure. Square, I just said I wanted block in the 73 range. The market keeps pressing, and it just barely even moves up here on block. So that's a little bit unfortunate. I'll zoom it in. I was sitting at 72.75. I might wet the beak at the 50s because the very, very tight range here on block at the lows. Even when the market bounces, it's not moving too far. I'm going to give it some time to try to press up here as we're getting to 18,000. But if it cannot get up to my price, I might wet the beak at the 50 level. So short arm, short Intel, not reloading. Oh, sorry, not reloading. I'm not getting into Apple unless I see us take that 185 and start trending a little bit higher. 18,000, I still think resistance for the short here to reload.
All right. Yeah, we're reloaded right here. So we just took out, we're back into Tesla on the short. So we're now short at 40s right now. And again, because it's a reloaded position, it's going to be a little bit more shares. So if we can scalp something out here, I think we want to do that right in around 181, just in case we bounce off of that level. So it's coming back. Okay, here we go. We're bidding 06s. That's me at 06, and we got it. So that's good right there. It's not a plane crash by any stretch of the imagination, but I hit that button anyways. Good short, reloaded. Let's go. Good reload back short into Tesla right there. As we'll see, peace out now. Obviously, my prices have dramatically changed now on Tesla. As we were just short at 182, now we're short at 181.26. And you guys always ask us about that, like, why do our prices change? And Here's an example of it changing against me, right? So sometimes like, oh, Sean's averaging up. His price was that, now it's this. Well, I'm doing the other way around now. So we used to have a big winner. Now we're just here 30, 40 cents in the money, or 25 cents in the money as our average price, 180, 120. I just wanted to short it against the 200 period there. Tesla's weak, obviously only up 0.6, market up 2. So I'll choose you, Pikachu, to short, and that's going to be Tesla. My out is coming up soon, I guess, for Palantir, because although we make the very bottom of the day, we made some back there, but we are getting ready to get stopped out. I want to just give this a little bit of room. I was honestly just thinking about 45 up on the upside, but I was initially thinking long Palantir. So to lose on the short of this one, it's a little bit different than Tesla, because Tesla's, you know, around key levels, I feel like that 182 was something. So I'm pretty happy shorting it up into that level. But Palantir right now, it's a pretty choppy morning. So to look all the way up there, that's a big run. What are we short at, 26? 20 cent hit? I think we're okay with that. Let's watch out for that 23.45 area, but not with heavy confidence.
Yeah, still some time in here with like 10 minutes to go. You'll see I actually just got trailed on CGC. It just, the 11.25, so we go 10.75 to 11, 11 to 11.25, and it just rejected 11.25, which is this resistance level. So if it's going to pull back, VWAP is still the play. Going to get right back on the bid in front of 80s. As CGC starting to pull right back in. No, I don't want in there. There we go. 1080 is going to be the re-entry price. So if we liked 75 before, we still like it. And now we're just back to only shorts. Block, bottom consolidation. Yeah, would it be better to be short at VWAP? Of course it would be, but it's not at VWAP. So we consolidated down here, so that's where we're going to take the trend into the downside. ARM, we're back into. Intel, we're back into at the same level. Eyeballs on NVIDIA. If that takes out the top, I might trim regardless on the chip names, because I do respect if NVIDIA is going to take the market higher there. Apple's still trying to break this top. I'm not thinking short here on Apple. We have shorts on. But if Apple's able to take 185, I think that would be a pretty strong move. It's the one thing I'm looking for a long trade, would be if this can hold VWAP and break that out. So if we don't get it, just know that I like this VWAP potential breakout on Apple. Still 10 minutes to go, but you know, the market's having a bit of a decision point at this 18,000. Yeah. And I've already got the stocks I like short. This would be the breakout long that I'd take.
All right, it's 10:50. We will get to money talks in just a minute, but here goes Tesla trying to break through 181 again. Like I said, we had sharpened our toolbox a long time ago, looking at key levels, just like Neil mentioned, that 18,000. It's actually written on the sticky note talk today about that $18,000 level, 18,000 point level. Here we go right now for Tesla as it's making a move down. 180.60. We're making money. Don't worry about that, Ramin. Right now, give the people what they want. And right now, yeah, you want, but don't, yeah, but your job is safe with me, you know that. All right, so here we go. Nice little move to the downside here as we continue on Tesla. Let's not let Ramin lose her job anytime soon and go over to the desk and see what's up with Adara.
One thing that certainly isn't up right now is the DXY, and its third straight day to the downside and decisively breaking out of that 105.60 to 106.40 range we've been talking about the last couple days. So DXY on a bit of a path here to the downside, getting near that previous area of resistance and support around that 104.90s, 105 area. So it'll be interesting to see what we do with these levels. We did get a host of economic data prints earlier today, including ISM Manufacturing PMI, lower than expected. Also lower than expected was S&P Global Services PMI here. We also got our non-farm payrolls below expectations, 175,000 versus 238,000. As was the estimate. So nice move up for the market, nice move down for the DXY on that number. We also had an increase in unemployment compared to expectations. So 3.9% versus 3.8% estimate. A couple of Fed speakers as well that we had earlier today. Fed's Bowman saying that she remains willing to raise the fund rate at a future meeting if there is stalled or reversed inflation progress. So Fed's Bowman still being a little bit hawkish though, but Fed's Goolby made some comments as well saying that the monetary policy is restrictive and that the more jobs reports like today, the more comfort I will have. So Fed's Goolsby liking today's job report. We'll also have Fed's Goolsby and Fed's Williams speaking later today, 7:45 p.m., guys.
No one's listening. 7:45. No one cares about that.
I'll be on the diamond.
Yeah, forget about that nonsense. Stop that noise. Back to VWAP on Intel. We shorted 31. Again, that was the first reload. The second reload was ARM, right back up at the 103.5. VWAP's going to be down here a buck in the money. It's about 50 cents now. Square was not a reload. Square was a new trade. I'm not going to repeat it, but
Look at Tesla.
obviously Square is just dying down here. But we're shorted at the quarter mark. We're going to get some out in front of the low. That's underneath that 72 level. So we flipped short early, and now we're just sort of staying short as we fail that 18,000. So here we are. The market looked like it was going to be a long, but that's not what it looks like anymore. Lower highs underneath that 18,000 and reloads in most names. NVIDIA's about to give up 880 as well, which could really send us to the downside. That'll look fantastic, as it is one of these after what looked like such a strong day in the market. Got to be able to move with the times.
More important, I mean, that's very important, but you got to be confident. We talked about Tesla. We talked about the reload. We stood right in its way there, reloaded our best trade of the day, reloaded it again. Actually, P&L-wise, still be Google and the TQs, but we're coming back in here for Tesla. And if we crank lower, damn, shorty, we got that one. Here goes Palantir. Let's see what happens here to the downside now for Palantir, as we'll do stink face to this market. Let's just see how low it can go, though, first, before we get too carried away on this. I mean, it could always retrace right back up, which is why we just start taking profit. I mean, it's one thing to like say, you know what, we screwed that trade up or whatever, but we always say this about being wrong, staying wrong and all that. It really does mean something, because if you're just going to be stuck in a trade pretty much like all day, then you have a couple outcomes, wrong or right. And I mean, I'm not in the business of doing that kind of stuff, so I don't want to be shut down or have like a huge day. I'd rather be sometimes able to survive the different plays that are going to be out there for us, right? And so I feel like with that being said, even a stock here like a Tesla that's fallen back into 180, let's put a bid. So let's just put a bid there at 9. Why did I put it at 19s? This happened to me before and I missed it, and it ripped all the way back up. So let's just punch out now before everyone changes their mind. There it is. So we'll take a 23 out there on Tesla. Even though I think it's going to go lower, things can happen. So there's the out at 180. How many times are you going to see it bounce around? I'm just about to tweet this out.
You're a closet Keyshawn Johnson fan. That's why you put 19.
Yeah, I like Keyshawn Johnson. But 19, let me think about that. Why can I not think of another big 19?
I'm trying to think of somebody else, and I don't know why he's the only person that came to my mind. There's got to be other people that wear the number 19 in multiple sports, but I couldn't think of anybody.
Yeah. Why? I mean, that's a good call. We always do sports things here. But why I did that was because here on the prop floor, if you come over to here just quickly, if I punch out like I did there, I pay fees to punch out, right? But if I bid down here and it hits me, then I get a rebate. So sometimes I'll just go like, oh, it's at 30, I'll just put a quick bid at like 28. So I know that I'm sitting there so that if it hits me, that might be a fireable offense over there. What just happened over there?
She dropped the mic.
No, so if it hits you on the way down, then you'll be adding liquidity. So although we talk about how long it takes to graduate and all that, I was able to do it in less than a month, and we had 3 times the target then that we do now, and nothing got carried forward, nothing like that. So it was very, very different situation back then than it was now. Although graduation rates still remain the same, different market, different times. But that's how I started, and that's when I hired Neil. That's what I got him on now, or back then, was to bid an offer. And I think that when you're bidding and offering, it does give you an opportunity to understand the game. I was lucky enough to understand it pretty quickly, and as some people say, the rest is history. But here comes Tesla breaking down through 180 right now. I'm just glad that everybody's here with us, man. I mean, this is Palantir time as well. Nice move back in for Palantir. We're bidding 12s and 14s. So a little bit of a break through the 50 period because we already took that. Let's break it. Let's go lower, 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 lower on this one. And ciao, Tesla. I'll see you on the flip side, my guy, as we continue to go to the downside right now with Tesla. Another big trade. We're going to be red on Apple, red on Palantir for now, and then we're going to see about that. So it'll be a positive movement here for Tesla, a nice move for Palantir, and a decent day. Could be better, but good day so far here. As we'll hold on to this trade and see what happens.
You know, I'm on the same thing. 24-way Apple for me, obviously. You know, Apple was Apple and it stunk. Same thing with Palantir. Rivian was okay because of the pre-market trade, but then after that, it wasn't any good. Square's new, but you join the pattern to the downside. Intel and then ARM reloaded 2 of the 3 and got a new one. So 31, we're back at VWAP, but I want to respect the fact that Intel, look, it's up 1% and it's still above the breakout price. So as much as that's a good short level, like it broke out here and then held there. So if it cannot break this to the downside and this market continues down and we start holding that, I don't know if I'd reload it a third time. If it holds 75 and the market's still going lower and it gets up there again, then it's just a strong stock. And I would not want to be back into it. Square is literally the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's potentially about to break a fresh low. If it gets to 70 bucks, I'm taking it out at 70. Part of the reason for that is how big of a break 70 was. Like if you just think of how big this was at the 70 level post-market, screaming through, it was a nice consolidation after getting crushed a couple of days ago on that. What are we calling it? I don't even know. It was also kind of money laundering, I suppose. No, it was processing crypto transactions related to terrorists. So that's not good for Square, but they managed to throw that out. I just want to be out in front of that 70 level. But 3 shorts all working in the money here. You had to be able to flip into the other direction. ARM and Intel were just the first 2 we found, and we got to Square, even if it was late. As long as you're well dressed, you're going to be good to go. 1 minute to go. Where is that counter at? Because I want to see 4-5-0, Ramin.
Yeah, I'm excited for the counter, but I also like to see 17.9 break. Here we go right now into the gates of hell. Goes Tesla, now almost $2 in the money on that reload. We're dime pieces over here on Palantir, but let's just put a piece out at 16. Take that, Phil. Thank you, 14s. The cash register is ringing as we leave you guys today. Good day trading. Even a better day about to happen. Sharif, let you. Yeah, it's okay. It's promotion for you, so it's all good. It's all good. What do we got today?
Multi-signal approach. Gap and go with technicals.
Multi-signal approach. Enjoy gap and go with technicals. So shout out to Sharif and Adair if you're looking for gap and go strategies. We may have everything. They'll answer questions, talk about names that are moving around, trading as well. We talked about that yesterday. Sharif, one of 2 traders that were green yesterday. So shout out to Sharif from yesterday. And again, today's another day, and you're about to get it. Thank you for watching.
Just quickly
hit those likes, and subs.
There's this. Someone just asked about MNDR in the chat is halted. It's at 810. The halt open price is $13. So I would be exceedingly careful with this. Look at the gap. Current tap is up here. The volume is 2 million shares, but this is probably going to fly around from halt to halt, which makes it extremely risky to trade because you're just trading from halt to halt. Unless you have a very specific strategy for that, there's no proper way to risk manage, in my humble opinion. So just be careful with that name, guys. Let's go on over to the midday. Go get them.
Much to the big kahunas. What is up, beautiful people?